But the lengths to which they've gone to harass us and get revenge for going after their god king Hasan has frankly gone beyond any type of point of civility and humanity, to the point where they're calling CPS, Child Protective Services, to come to our house and break up our family. And at this point, I'm ready to take no prisoners, take the gloves off, and call out everybody who needs to be called out.
I'm not really looking forward to seeing, well, I am, sorry, why am I saying that? I'm really looking forward to seeing how far he goes against these people, because these people are disgusting. This is supposed to be to do with helping Palestine or something? Like, okay, I think we're probably beyond that now. Shouldn't someone 5150 him at this point? It's sectioning, right? Like for mental health, which is very ironic, given that this space is the online equivalent of a padded cell. H3 Productions has uploaded another video on the same channel that has the nukes. This is more like a mini nuke though, a tactical nuke, if you will, a baby nuke. And it's all about H3 Snark and the people who spread allegations that he was endangering his kids by making them sick. A dirty bomb, if you will, a cluster munition. Let's see, where are we at? 500,000 views, 18 hours. Not bad, not bad. Big audience. Okay. Let's see. Let's go.
In my long career on YouTube, I've pretty much seen it all. I've been swatted several times with LAPD helicopters, the street shut down, police with guns drawn, doing a perimeter around my house. We've also been visited by the FBI 3 times. They were all to warn us of a credible threat against our lives. One time, most recently, he came at 7 a.m. and said, "Do not open any packages until you hear from me, as we have credible bomb threats against you that we found online." I thought I'd seen it all. I knew this content nuke was going to draw a lot of negative attention, seeing how extreme Hasan and his fan base are, and his orbiters. But the lengths to which they've gone to harass us and get revenge for going after their god king Hasan has frankly gone beyond any type of point of civility and humanity, to the point where they're calling CPS, Child Protective Services, to come to our house and break up our family. On Friday morning, an agent showed up to our house saying that they had received an anonymous tip that our children were crawling around in dog, eating dog, and contracting diseases. Not only have they called CPS on us, now they're starting to try to call in a 5150 to get me committed. It's really gone on too far, and at this point, I'm ready to take no prisoners, take the gloves off, and call out everybody who needs to be called out. The thing is, once you target my
so, for lack of a better word, Ethan has a reputation for, I guess, like pettiness, or just a sense of disproportionality. He's very Israeli in that regard, you know, like he's very like, if you with me, I'll you 10 times harder kind of guy. And obviously, like with people he's gone after in the past, like he's willing to take legal action. He's willing to like use the size of his platform against people and all that. But I don't think I've ever seen him get attacked this maliciously before, like people going after his kids. So I'm not really looking forward to seeing, well, I am, sorry, why am I saying that? I'm really looking forward to seeing how far he goes against these people, because these people are disgusting. This is supposed to be to do with helping Palestine or something. Like, okay, I think we're probably beyond that now. We'll see.
Children, then a line's been crossed that cannot be walked back. Once my kids are involved, when people are targeting my children, harassing my children, there's no length that I won't go to take care of this. And I think that's something that every parent can relate to. All these people, incidentally,
I feel like this "I'm taking no prisoners" line needs a bit of support. Okay, this is better.
House saying that they had received an anonymous tip that our children were crawling around in dog, eating dog, and contracting diseases. Not only have they called CPS on us, now they're starting to try to call in a 5150 to get me committed. It's really gone on too far, and at this point, I'm ready to take no prisoners, take the gloves off, and call out everybody who needs to be called out. The thing is, once you target my children, then a line's been crossed that cannot be walked back. Once my kids are involved, when people are targeting my children, harassing my children, there's no length that I won't go to take care of this. And I think that's something that every parent can relate to. All these people, incidentally, who are promoting this type of insanity are, in fact, childless and will likely remain that way. The CPS agent showed up and he started asking us all kinds of questions like, who feeds the kids? Who takes care of the kids? What do you do to the kids when you get angry?
What is this partisan music? Oh, it's the Lehi anthem. It's the only good that I know of. It's the only good Jewish terrorist anthem. The partisan song is better. Keep it playing. Wait, first of all, I wanted to read this. There's another good thing about this is because now that there's legal action involved, bro, it's a joke, dick. You know, it's a different, when I play terrorist anthems, you know it's a joke. You know, I don't actually support the organizations that are behind the music. Like, that's the difference, okay? If anyone's scratching their head about that one, these great musical people, the Lehi, all 300 of them. Where's the screen? Hey!
Is once you target my children, then a line's been crossed that cannot be walked back. Once my kids are involved, when people are targeting my children, harassing my children, there's no length that I won't go to take care of this. And I think that's something that every parent can relate to. All these people, incidentally, who are promoting this type of insanity are, in fact, childless and will likely remain that way. The CPS agent showed up and he started asking us all kinds of questions like, who feeds the kids? Who takes care of the kids? What do you do to the kids when you get angry? How do the kids sleep? Do the kids have toys? What happens when you get mad, or what happens when your kids get mad? He walked around the house. He looked in our refrigerator. He walked all around looking for dog apparently, although when he showed up immediately, he said, wow, this place is clean. Our 3- and 5-year-old boys were at school. Our 8-month-old is upstairs sleeping when he visits, and he says, I need to go upstairs and look at your infant visibly to see him and confirm he's okay. Well, he's napping in his crib. He goes upstairs to look around the house, to snoop around. He investigates Sonny, our youngest, wakes him up from his nap, and even though he woke him up during his nap, he was greeted immediately actually by a smile, because Sonny is probably the happiest baby in the entire world. He smiles at everybody. His name is Sonny because he is just a ray of sunshine.
Don't you think he kind of deserves this after trying to destroy Vosh for no reason? Whatever your position on how he treated Vosh, and I don't think he was particularly fair on Vosh, go after his kids to get them taken away by CPS? No, you idiot. What a stupid question. What? Go to Vosh and ask him how he feels about this as a vindication for him. Where's the timestamps with the Reddit stuff?
Take the gloves off and call out everybody who needs to be called out. The thing is, once you target my children, then a line's been crossed.
I don't know. Why can't I see the
revenge for going after their god king Hasan has frankly gone beyond any type of point of civility and humanity to the point where they're calling CPS, Child Protective Services, to come to our house and break up our family. On Friday morning, an agent showed up to our house saying that they had received an anonymous tip that our children were crawling around in dog eating dog and contracting diseases. Not only have they called CPS on us, now they're starting to try to call an
okay. Ethan's emergency video bingo. Shouldn't someone 5150 him at this point? Is this what the Americans call, it's sectioning, right? Like for mental health, which is very ironic, given that this is basically the online equivalent, like this space is the online equivalent of a padded cell. Like if the internet had a padded cell, it would be these subreddits. Whoever called CPS, can you please do a 5150? Joking, no one here called CPS, misinformation. Does every criticism of Ethan need to turn into a coping crusade against Hasan? Trying the Dan Saltman approach and telling his fans to email bomb Twitch, 5150. What's the end game here? I love watching the downfall because I'm messy, so you can continue until he inevitably gets 5150'd. Bro, they're all typing this from the cuckoo's nest. I don't understand. This is like they get the orange tablet and then they go into the little room and sit in a circle and talk about their problems, and then they get 10 minutes of internet access and type this up, and then they go and get the blue tablet, and then they go and get some more internet access, and then they get the red tablet. Like, what the
Who takes care of the kids? What do you do to the kids when you get angry? How do the kids sleep? Do the kids have toys?
Okay.
What happens when you get At which point he said something that both me and Hila had us both saying absolutely not. He said he was going to go to the children's school to interrogate them there. And we both said, you are absolutely not going to ever go to their school and talk to them. That is insane. We agreed that he'll come back to our house and interview our 3- and 5-year-old children at a time when they're at home, so he doesn't need to humiliate them in front of his peers, his teachers, the staff there, and, you know, needlessly stigmatize them. My young 3- and 5-year-old children, who are sweet and innocent as can be, have not yet been interrogated by a CPS agent, but that is due to happen on Wednesday. He also spoke to our nanny, our housekeeper. He's called the pediatrician that takes care of the kids. He talked to them. Pretty much sifted through every angle of our life having to do with our kids in an extremely violating, insulting, unbelievable way. Just a complete breach
This
of
is the Bad and Banana post about AB on his screen, isn't it?
privacy and inhumanity that it's like you can't believe that you, as somebody who has done nothing wrong, has taken care of your kids, to be subject to this forcible investigation because of some freaks online called anonymously to say that our kids are crawling around in shit. The immediate question for me was, who did this and how am I going to hold them accountable? It didn't take me long to catch the trail of the obvious suspect.
Ethan is Jewish. So I've heard. This, you know what this really makes me want to do? It makes me want to do a deep dive into the French Revolution cartoonists because the behavior is so similar. I'm sure it happened in the Russian Revolution as well, like the amount of defamation and smearing that they did against their opponents. And also, eventually, when you got to like, especially the Jacobin Terror, the amount of defamation that the hardliners did against their own movement, like from within. And that's why a bunch of people ended up guillotining each other. But I just feel like it would be really funny to see how similar the behavior is.
Which is the work of a subreddit dedicated to harassing me, my family, my coworkers, and their families too, frankly, known as Snark. H3 Snark is the place that they originated. If you don't know what Snark is, it's this growing phenomenon of communities dedicated essentially to destroy someone's life, picking it apart, harassing them, and just trying to ruin their life. It's something that's become quite common on the internet, and something that Reddit, who is the main host of such activities, has completely turned a blind eye to. Take, for example, right here, H3H3_, which is the new Snark page. The top post on this page is from somebody named Bad Empanada, which we'll learn more about.
This picture, man. The state of this guy. God. Gorgeous George.
It says, Bad Empanada with another banger. Quote, "You're the best parents I've ever seen," said house slave Abdullah Ayad to the Kleins after CPS visited them because their kids contracted parasites from dog feces. The Kleins frequently advocate for genocide of Arabs while Ayad sits obediently in silence. He is a tame domestic animal. This is just literally, anyone of a normal disposition can see plainly how f***ing insane this is. It has 400 upvotes after 3 hours. It's a very active sub of absolutely deranged individuals. The problem is that this subreddit, this community, is being legitimized by creators such as Hasan, such as Denims, such as Mike from PA, and all these leftist commentators who think they can get one up on me by sicking and participating and...
You know, I wonder if that guy, because Anthony Sargon, the guy from the Do Not Worry podcast, he supported Bana Panada as well, but I know he's very much against this. It turns out there actually is like a little bit of humanity in there. Isn't it funny how, again, this is just my personal experience, but it is interesting how a lot of people who are actually like from the region are not as willing to cross these red lines. Because that guy, the guy from Do Not Worry podcast, actually lives in Lebanon. Yeah, Millhouse. Yeah, he lives in Lebanon. And it just made, because I used to say that when I saw all these people like Snark and Hasan's community and Bad Empanada's community and all these wankers, I used to see them and I would be like, it's so interesting that they always invoke the suffering in the region to justify their behavior. When I know people, I've got people in my family who have been through that suffering, who have like seen people that they know die, have lost people in war. Like my grandmother who's lived through the Lebanese Civil War, which killed like 150, 200,000 people. She's lived through 30 years of Syrian occupation, 18 years of Israeli occupation, 2 wars, like 2 Israeli invasions, 3, I guess, if you count 78. 4 now, if you count the recent one. She was there during that. The bombings in Dahia, she was not far from Dahia when all that happened. And she's lived through all of that. And being in a position as well where there's not really like, where you can't really pick a side in a way, because if you're Maronite and you lived in Lebanon in the 70s and the early 80s, you couldn't just join the Palestinians generally. Like, you were harassed by the PLO constantly. You're not going to get much help from your own side unless you want to put your law in with phalangists who are also mental. Shiites, forget about it. Like, so point is, it's like I see people I've known who have lived through so much of this history, and they have not expressed even a fraction of the level of vitriol that comes from these white mummy and daddy's little fucking activists in the West. I just find that very bizarre. Who haven't seen any of this, who haven't experienced any of this pain and suffering themselves. So yeah, I find that very odd.
Ayad sits obediently in silence. He is a tame domestic animal. This is just literally, anyone of a normal disposition can see plainly how insane this is. It has 400 upvotes after 3 hours. It's a very active sub of absolutely deranged individuals. The problem is that this subreddit, this community, is being legitimized by creators such.
This was Millhouse. Honestly, debunking Ethan and Hila Klein's Zionist propaganda has been fun and productive, but trying to get their kids taken away is a whole other story. And I do not fuck with that one bit. It's one thing to call out their and ask for accountability, but this is too much. I'm really curious now as to what's going to happen when Bana Panada gets a hold of this. Oh no. This guy's going to go scorched earth on all the Arabs now.
Such as Hasan, such as Denims, such as Mike from PA, and all these leftist commentators who think they can get one up on me by sicking and participating and legitimizing the most crazed psychopaths on the internet.
I bring this to YouTube because I respect the H3 Snark and I believe that they're being silenced.
Bro, who the is this person? Okay.
And I saw on the H3 Snark that Ethan had uploaded Instagram stories about Mika's rhetoric that says,
and it's about the H3 Snark subreddit. For more than a year now, Ethan has been talking about it and saying how toxic this place is, how they promote harassment, doxing, stalking.
He uses that vitriol and invokes their suffering to justify their behavior, but you won't say what behavior. Oh, like encouraging and supporting the idea of getting your kids called on you, of getting your CPS called on you and your kids taken away from you based on a defamatory claim. Is that close enough? Also, the fact that these people support Hamas violence, they support targeting civilians, they will openly support it. They'll say that there's no such thing as an Israeli civilian. They support harassment, like to the ends of the earth, right? What? They support doxing, calls for violence? Like, what? Okay.
And why it should be banned.
Because I believe these snark subreddits on Reddit should be banned. It's literally fostering the most psychopathic. It encourages harassment, doxing, stalking. It's just...
Oh. What's he going to say? How do we... I don't want chat to tell me because I know a bunch of you have seen this before. What's he going to say? Snark harassment. He might say that... okay, there's 2 options. One is he's going to say, I don't support snark. I think they go too far. He'll appeal to some tepid denunciation. 2, he's going to say, but you're okay with Destiny subreddit harassing me because they clip him. Is it one of those? Come on, Hasan, make me proud. Load up. Swallow your food.
I guess it's fine as long as it's not the Destiny subreddit.
Hey!
I think it's time to hold.
What can I say? What can I say? I'm not even proud of myself. It's so obvious.
All of them accountable. Here, for example, is Denims, aka Hasan Waiting Room, watching Bad Empanada talk about the state of our house and how we take care of our kids. Let's take a look.
He lets his dogs all over his mansion, and he just leaves the on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. So I would assume he doesn't actually have a housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog and he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they eat it or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something. But they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia from the dog that is all over his house.
Dude, how
Is
is
this
it?
true? I don't know. Maybe we should look it up. Maybe we should do some investigating. No? Wouldn't that be more wise?
How is it that like maybe once a week I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, and every time I manage to find more and more terrible. This is where Ethan tells a story about his family getting
We
Giardia.
already have mowed Mondays. Now we have Saturdays.
Also, this is not a joking matter, by the way. It can be very severe and deadly to small children. I mean, much like many other illnesses, it's very, very, very dangerous when infants get the same sicknesses that adults get. There are lots of things that you can get as an adult. You're totally fine. You'll be A-okay. No problem.
Just so you guys know, this is how long it takes to look up Giardia and actually see how you can get it. This is how long it takes, okay? You can get it from contaminated water, contaminated food, person-to-person contact. It can happen even if you don't wash your hands thoroughly after using the toilet, changing diapers, or handling animals. Contaminated surfaces that have been contaminated, anal to oral, or also just animal contact. Like, you don't actually have to eat to get this disease. It turns out that even if a dog, because dogs shed, okay, dogs have all kinds of shit going on with them, like leaving traces of themselves along the floor, like they could just like rub their butt along a carpet, or they could fart as well, right? Like there's so many different, and particles can get out. It's touching animals that have a Giardia infection, or environments that are contaminated. Like, this is how long it would have taken to learn about the fact, to learn that this story is right. Just in case you're trying to suggest that anyone was sincerely concerned about the well-being of Ethan's children when they called this CPS or when they called for it.
A child, a small infant.
Please be careful not to get baited into using misogynistic language watching Denims. They will weaponize it for sure. When have I ever done that?
That has no immune system shouldn't be catching anything.
Now, at this point, as he continues, notice the chat is almost in complete universal agreement. Call CPS. Call child endangerment. CPS, social services. Bro needs to unironically call CPS. That's child endangerment. Okay, if his kids have Giardia, they need to be taken away. Actual worst father ever, etc., etc. I'll let the chat play for you, but you can see just how crazed this community is. And once again, this is Denims' chat. From the first, the call came on the third.
No.
Why the f are we wasting time on this while fascism is literally taking control? Is it not obvious this drama is manufactured and a distraction? Okay. Is it possible to call Child Protective Services on yourself?
One day his house is covered in dog shit, and his neglected children raised by nannies have contracted parasites previously unknown to science from the feces. I wonder why he skipped over all of them.
What? Previously unknown to science. Diseases previously unknown to science. Jeez. Ironic. Diseases previously unknown to science. Unrelated. Okay.
Of this, because everything that he said, everything that I said in this story, which by the way was apparently compiled by his crew, playing.
No wonder this is always sick. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, just I've generally had a bit of a kind of, what would you call it? Like a bit of a ceasefire with I don't know if she's done it in my direction. I don't really watch, but I know that I've generally had a bit of a ceasefire with going after Denims because like me and her used to be quite friendly. But the fact is that it's also awkward for me because I know, like, okay, maybe things have changed since we stopped talking like a couple of years ago, but I know that she doesn't believe any of this. Like, she knows that Bad Empanada is a habitual liar. Like, I know that she knows that. Like, and she knows that I know that. Like, she knows that I know that she knows. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's so obvious. I don't even honestly know if she, like, that's why I find it if you've ever wondered why she always sounds so insincere when she's reacting to this stuff, I don't think she believes any of it. I think she's just, I guess this is her job, you know? Like, not that it justifies it. It's obviously a pretty shit thing to do, but yeah, like, she obviously hates Ethan, and it's that whole thing, right? Like, where you know who Bad Empanada is, you know what he does, but he's useful to you in this scenario, so let's go for it.
Yeah, it all makes sense now.
By the way, these people can't keep their talking points straight. On one hand, it's...
I mean, that's just a theory, though. She might She might absolutely have changed her mind on a lot of this, but it's just like, to me, the way I see the way that she reacts to these things, and the way it just sounds so forced and so insincere, like all the like the exacerbated reacts or the hmms or the fake laughs and all that. It's like, yeah, I really think it's just she's just doing a job. I just that's in her head. I think that's what she's doing. I don't think she believes a word of any of this.
We don't raise our kids, and our house is just run by nannies and housekeepers. But on the other hand, we also keep our house so dirty that there's dog everywhere. I mean, what are the housekeepers and nannies doing?
It all makes sense now. It makes sense why he doesn't care about Palestinian children when he is neglecting his own. How is this happening? How is it happening? How?
See that like that there, that's not an exacerbated reaction. She's not actually sincerely believing that Ethan is letting his kids roll around in dog and getting sick and is exacerbated by it and actually thinks that's a really tragic situation. She doesn't believe any of that. Like, you can tell. It's so obvious.
How is this happening? How is it happening? How is this happening?
I have a 10-month-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old who are in school. Of course, I'm sick all the time. Once again, these childless people pretend that this is uncommon when, of course, anybody with any sense who's being honest. The thing is, these people are knowingly lying. They know that they're lying. It makes no sense what they're saying, but they do it anyway. Because, as you can see in the chat, and Denims endorses this clearly, as you can see, she's not moderating this at all. And it's pretty much 100% of the comments saying call CPS on them. Their kids should be taken away. That she believes that it's justified to break up our family. This disgusting human being who's endorsed by Hasan and the entire left community on Twitch, who is protected and elevated by Twitch, is on her platform right now advocating for our children to be forcibly removed from us by Child Protective Services. Denims is such an evil person. She is not responsible enough to have a platform. She should not be allowed to broadcast videos ever again.
Whoa.
Now, you might wonder, what is it they're referring to? On the podcast, I was telling a story about we adopted a new dog about a month ago, and she was having diarrhea, which ended up being a extremely common stomach parasite that causes diarrhea. It's extremely common, and it's very easy to address. In fact, Ducky, our Yorkie, when we got him as a puppy, also had Giardia, and we treated him the same way. Let's see what I said about it. That Olive has Giardia, which is a...
How do I stop getting this channel recommended? What, my channel? Bro, my channel is not enjoying the algorithm right now. If you're watching me, it's because you kind of like me. That's why you're in my chat. You have to be subscribed to chat. What's wrong with you? What an insincere complaint.
It's a bacterial infection in the intestine.
Well, I mean, haters, okay? Listen, Snarkers, Hasan fans, Bad Banana fans, you guys, okay? Like, you're here because you want to be, okay? You've made a choice. And I'll talk to any of you. I'll talk to all of you at once, okay? This is how I react to you guys, okay? This is... I can't believe people thought... I never even said this. I said the opposite at the time. I can't believe people actually thought that I had decided to quit the internet because of these mouth-breathing who are literally like my favorite sport as human beings, okay? You understand that when I have 200,000 Hasan fans, whatever, like, on me, what I want is I want them all in the same room so I can argue with them, okay? That's who I am, okay? Like, you're more than welcome. But don't come in here and be like, why is this channel on my feed? Why am I still clicked to the subscribe button? Who made me type this in chat? Bro, shut up. You're not fooling anyone. How do I stop sending you super chats? Thank you for the £5.
That makes you have diarrhea.
And Olive has this?
Olive has this, yeah. She came to us with it.
Okay.
She had diarrhea, and...
oh, poor baby.
Ducky came to us with that too. So she has Giardia, so we have her on an antibiotic, but we had to wait until Monday, which is today. We just got it today. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia. Again, any reasonable person or parent understands that having
I think they were making a grander philosophical point about determinism. Okay.
10-month-old that is just learning to crawl is crawling around everywhere, putting everything in his mouth. I mean, these kids will literally just lick the floor, put anything in the world in their mouth, and that's completely normal. That's what having a toddler is like. Olive is a black Labrador. She sheds a lot. She's inside. She's outside. She's very clean. But the point I'm making, again, which all reasonable people understand, is that Giardia can actually be spread just from a surface. So if her bum ends up on the floor, or she sheds some hair, or she sat on a toy, you know, it could be a number of different things. If Sonny's crawling around putting everything in his mouth, it seems like a pretty reasonable suspect. If he's having diarrhea, we're like, oh man, maybe he got Giardia from Olive, which is actually commonplace to happen. And despite what Denims says, it is not certain death. It's actually completely normal to happen, and it's very easy to treat. Now, spoiler alert, it actually turns out when we got all of the poop tests back that he never had Giardia even, which I announced on the show, which they conveniently forget. So the only person that ever even had Giardia was Olive. So Sonny was having diarrhea essentially, and that was and that's why they called CPS, because my 10-month-old baby who's just starting to eat solid food had diarrhea. That's why these people think it's justified to send an agent of one of the most overworked, underfunded, underappreciated community service workers in the entire world to come and waste their time because my son had a diarrhea. When in the city of Los Angeles, there are kids and families that absolutely need help from people like this, and this guy's wasting his time coming to my house and doing an investigation on my kids because my 10-month-old baby had diarrhea. By the way, Bad Empanada was recently banned for 7 days.
Diseases previously unknown to science.
For playing a video game in which you roleplay as Hamas on October 7th, and he went to a military compound in that game and said he was, quote, looking for secretaries to kill. He was looking for Hila, who was a secretary in the IDF, to murder her in a game where you play Hamas. This is the type of person that is being elevated.
I'd like to pay tribute to Ethan Klein and the new Twitch TOS that declares Zionism. Zion is the slur. I'd like to pay tribute to him by playing the first in Al-Aqsa video game where you kill Zionist soldiers as a Palestinian resistance fighter. Anyways, are these Israelis? They're just standing there? I mean, is the Israeli army a bunch of Ethan Kleins? Like, they're all on a Ozempic binge? They don't understand what's going on around them? They haven't noticed?
I mean, bro, what did they do to all of your favorite militant groups in the last 16 months? Like, I'm sorry, but are we really going to play this game about who's the more competent military force? Okay.
But it's me. How do I win? What's my objective? I don't actually know. Where do they...
Oh, God. That is a very pro-Hamas question to ask, isn't it? What's my objective? Like, what's the point in all this?
Ozempic binge? They don't understand what's going on around them? They haven't noticed me? How do I win? What's my objective? I don't actually know.
Do you think the guys who designed the video game actually did that on purpose? That you just run around people and you're like, they deliberately obscured the objective of the game. Because it's like, what are we, yeah. They never really showed that in the October 7th footage, you know, but it was there, right? Surely. They never showed you the bit where the Nukba forces are just running around like, what do we do? What's the objective here? That's not what it's about, is it? Mate, buddy, diseases previously unknown to science. What's the objective? The objective is to terrorize people for absolutely no reasons. On people, it's to defame people, it's to call for violence against people, it's to try and advocate for people getting their families broken up. Yeah, just do that. Just hope something good happens. Yeah, don't ask questions, bro. Just kill people. Just start killing people. It's like that sketch. Oh my God. It's not even just a Hamas thing. It's like this, isn't it? Please be here. Yes.
All right, comrades. Now we're going to read all the way through this. I'll start. Okay? The wealth of
They're reading Capital by Marx.
Those societies in which the capitalist mode of production prevails presents itself as an immense accumulation of commodities. its unit being a single commodity. Our investigation must therefore begin with the analysis of a commodity. A commodity is, in the first place, an object outside us, a thing... Oh, sod it, let's go and kill someone.
What an amazing piece of content. Why did YouTube ban this? It's glorious. What's my objective? What do we do here?
Where do they keep the secretaries? In here? I'm hunting for secretaries right now. Secretary Dot, on behalf of Ethan Klein, I give this game my seal of approval.
Here's Bad Empanada once again, who posted a story saying, I'm the one who called CPS on Ethan Klein. I want CPS to take his kids away because they are seriously in danger. This is, once again, Bad Empanada, who's being elevated by Hasan.
Yes, I know Hila was a secretary. Yes, that's the not so thinly veiled advocacy for violence. Yes, well done. Yeah.
Matt Lieb, Denims, and tons of creators, leftist creators, all over the internet.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone else, please welcome Bad Empanada.
Bad Empanada's been going crazy at Ethan on the second channel. Well, yeah, because Ethan Klein is too afraid to talk to Bad Empanada or talk about Bad Empanada or watch any of his videos. So milk that guy, dude. Hell yeah, Bad Empanada, go in.
Can we just like,
This dude, Bad Empanada, I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's like actually psychotic, and he's been making a lot of hate videos about me and calling Hila a terrorist and baby killer and all.
Dude, every time Ethan Klein brings up Bad Empanada, I like him a little bit more. That's the truth. I didn't really have strong opinions on him, and every time he brings him up...
No, you thought he was insane. You knew he was insane. That's probably why you didn't cover him that much until this point, until you found out that he was useful to you. That's actually what happened, just so you guys know.
I'm like, stop making him sound base, man. Come on. Stop.
Bad Empanada has put out a video
You know
about
what
H3H3.
the really sad thing about this is, like, the only reason this guy gets so elevated, I guess, one, because he's completely mental and he says all the things that, like, I guess they think is like brave or whatever, but he it's also just because he's like the only one out of them who will even attempt to put like citations next to his claims, like, because he's read like one book maybe about the conflict. Like that's basically like the appeal that he has. It's like he can tell you one or two things about the 48 war that these guys don't know about, and that's like why and to them that's like the big like pinnacle of like academic justification behind what we argue for. It's so cringe, like, and even then it's just the same old, like, I remember a while back I tried watching one of them and it was like, even then it's just the same old oh yeah, like, remember Herzl said that Zionism is something colonialism, and that's why the entire thing should just be treated like Algeria. Like, yeah, it's so stupid.
And this is just for my own pleasure that we're gonna watch it, because whenever Bad Empanada attacks H3H3, H3H3 has like a mental breakdown, and every time I watch this, it causes them to have even more of a mental breakdown.
On this Turk versus moron, he made a Willie Mac show. Slob YouTube Willie Mac show made a video covering the Gaza genocide because he noticed that putting Hasan's name in the title gets him more views than usual. It went
about... wow. Even this, like, because Hasan's like not competent enough to respond to a Willie Mac video by himself. He can't even do that. He needs Bad Empanada to do it for him. Oh God, I remember this one. I covered this. My favorite thing about this is, like, this is the kind of where is it? In Gaza. This is the kind of intellectual that Hasan needs to back him up. Where is it? This? No. That's from the intro. Trying to find where I wrote this, or where I said this. This?
Coverage of the Al-Ahi hospital bombing.
IDF didn't bomb the hospital? Yes, it did!
Does this guy provide any evidence that he didn't bomb the hospital?
Oh no. Oh God. About the Al-Ali hospital. Are we still on this? It's on. Shut up. Yeah, just after 500 and showing weapons carried out disagrees. I'm not proud up on any of this. Almost at this hospital of not sad press. Oh my God, how long did I go on about this? This is me showing, I think, all the different reports that actually suggested that the most likely cause of the explosion was the rocket misfire. Yeah. This, yeah, acceptable.
almost academic analysis being that far off the mark. Oh, yeah, wait here. Like, it's so shameless. Like, no one, the amount of people who still to this day can't admit that this was most likely a Palestinian rocket. It doesn't matter, though. There's no shame in it. There's no blowback. There's nothing. There's no repercussion.
This is too many React layers.
Whereas on the other end, if you're doubtful of something that turned out to be true, shut up. Like, are you kidding me? This guy just, like, not only did of it, okay? Probably wouldn't pass, but, you know, you might be in the classroom saying it. How do you know? How do you know it wasn't Israeli? Okay.
First thing Hasan criticizes is me going after his poor coverage of the Al-Ahi hospital bombing.
IDF didn't bomb the hospital? Yes, it did!
Does this guy provide any evidence that he didn't bomb the hospital? No, he doesn't. He just insisted it didn't.
What makes it significant, it was just...
Hasan agrees with that. He likes that analysis. Yeah.
Evidence that he didn't bomb the hospital? No, he doesn't. He just insisted it didn't.
What makes...
Hasan's smiling at it. I don't know. That's just the perfect... This is the kind of academic rigor that people like Hasan need to back themselves up. Hasan can't react to a hit piece by a commentary YouTuber by himself. He needs someone else to hold his hand through it because he's that insecure about his own opinions.
Come up with that one for
his
him.
intelligence.
You know? Like, that's why he needs people to react to his critics for him.
I'm just saying it there as well. Okay, well done. Great. Ethan.
About as well as you'd expect.
I love that. Do you have any evidence that Israel didn't bomb the hospital? Banger. Boom.
Oh, dude. Okay. Critical support the Bad Empanada has gone up by wide margins now. Okay. Oh, this is on the Bad Empanada live channel. He didn't put this on the normal channel. Oh, my Lord. Oh, dude. Bad Empanada went from bad to good Empanada. Bad Empanada went from bad Empanada to based
Isn't it interesting how my judgment on who's a good or bad streamer is just completely centered around whether or not they're helping me or not? Interesting. By the way, the only reason Hasan didn't like Bad Empanada was because he was getting attacked over the React content. That was it. That's all it was.
Empanada.
Now, trust me, I would pursue legal action against Bad Empanada, whose MO is essentially defamation. He actually fled to Argentina like his Nazi predecessors, and unfortunately, it is very difficult to get to and sue people in Argentina. So enjoy the community of Nazi refugees. You will fit right in there, my friend. But don't worry, guys. Denims says, even if this did happen, it's nothing to worry about because children actually don't remember anything. Isn't that awesome? Look at this. It might be the dumbest, most pathetic thing I've ever heard in my life. Here's Denims.
On the floor. And then the part that, in my opinion, crossed the line was like, so I'm going to visit your kids at school and ask them questions. And I says, you're not doing that.
No,
I mean, we both were like, that's not happening. You're not going.
Terrifying.
You are not doing that. So he agreed to come visit our house
next week
when the kids are at home because he needs to interview our kids as a matter of procedure.
But I was like, I really don't want you to create any bad memory here for them. Like, they are 5 and 3. They don't understand this. So I told him.
Is Bad Empanada still trying to sue you? He never tried to sue me. He sent me one warning. He sent me one warning and then obviously didn't follow up on it because he's a liar. Yeah, there was no chance he was going to sue me for anything. Yeah. It was just a threat. He just wasted a few £100 on a threat. That's it. Okay, context. Stop distracting me.
Any bad memory here for them? Like, they are 5 and 3. They don't understand this. So I told him.
Create any bad memory for them. You're not forming memories at 3 years old, and it's very rare that you're forming memories at 5 years old.
It's brilliant, man. It's so good. What the?
Nah, yes, you are. No,
even
not.
the chat's like, yes, you are. Like, there's like never any dissent in these chats. Even then, these guys are like, wait a minute.
When we're talking about being able to remember, being able to recall memories, it's like 4 is the cutoff. But even if you are forming any memories at 4, you're not going to be able to remember them past like 15. You have maybe 1 or 2 memories.
Whoa.
Talking to a random stranger once isn't really memorable for a kid. There's a wide variation about the mean across methods, cohorts. The average age of adults' earliest memories is 3.5 years old. You're not really forming memories at 3.
You literally just read out of your mouth.
When you're 3.5, you're still 3, right? Just so you guys know, heads up, PSA. Yeah, she ignored the 5-year-old. Yes, obviously. It's just, okay, well done. I see what you did there. Very good. Very good, very good. You want a cookie? Prick.
Mouth that the average adult starts forming memories at 3. What is happening? What universe do we exist in where this is a popular creator? One more time, guys, because it's absolutely unreal. One more time, guys.
There's a wide variation about the mean across methods, cohorts. The average age of adults' earliest memories is 3.5 years old. You're not really forming memories at 3. And it's pretty rare to be forming memories or like memories that you will keep like at 5.
How exactly am I supposed to get through?
This is also why it's not worth. People keep saying like, oh, he's not like debunking Bad Empanada's like video essays and shit like that. Well, first of all, because he has this wonderful ecosystem where if you respond to Bad Empanada, like he will just send a targeted harassment mob at you and will do it in his Discord like openly, and then will attack you in so many different ways that have nothing to do with the video that you're reacting to. But also, these guys can literally get proven wrong in the most obvious way, and they will still just chug on like nothing happened. Like, how obviously wrong was it that that story about the Al-Ali hospital? The idea that Israel airstruck and flattened a hospital, killing 500 people, which is what Bad Empanada said about it when it happened. And even after a year of every investigation, left, right, center disagreeing with you, and still just going to, how do you know Israel didn't bomb it? Like, yeah, they don't care. There's no point. There's literally no point.
To a person and convince her wrong when she's literally disproving herself on her own stream and then ignoring what just came out of her mouth 5 seconds earlier. Her defense for sending the CPS to break up our family and to interrogate our 3 and 5-year-old is that, don't worry, kids don't remember stuff.
TV, thanks for the sub. Not beating the label with catch them young, LMAO. Okay.
Which just also, besides being pathetically, sociopathically insane, not to care about the well-being of kids, just demonstrably false. Everybody knows that the most formative years of a child's life is around that age of 4, 5, 6, 7, when kids really take in their environment and develop who they become as people. Pretending as if interrogating my 3 and 5-year-old sons couldn't possibly cause any damage because they can't remember is the most insane, monstrous thing I could even imagine somebody to say about
Cortisol
this.
as
and
well.
it's
That
just,
exists when you're
beyond
3,
being
doesn't it?
insanely dumb, it's just callous, pathetic, and, well, really speaks for itself. It's the dumbest thing I think I have ever heard. Now, moving to Reddit, this whole theme of needing to call CPS on my kids is something that takes place on Reddit, originally from a subreddit called H3 Snark. On this subreddit, they have doxed us, harassed our employees, our Teddy Fresh employees who are not even related to the show, gone after crew members' parents, my parents, basically in every conceivable way that you can be harassed, these people have done it. Actually, the subreddit was closed indeed. However, not by Reddit. According to Reddit, this subreddit is still fully open and operational and is committing breaking no rules. What actually happened is that somebody within their community started informing on them, and we have these screenshots, which I have not shown before, but I'll show them to you now. Here, one of the mods is talking about a person named Sturgeon, which is also a co-mod. And here they say, Adi explained to me that Sturgeon had made a fake post, the quote Ramadan post, and had become more and more unhinged. Here the mods are talking about another fellow moderator of theirs and actively covering up the fact that their mod faked a post on the H3 Snark subreddit. What happened was this story got picked up that we were banning people wishing a happy Ramadan. We were removing the posts and banning them. And this whole narrative of me being Islamophobic started to form on their subreddit.
Is there like a version of CPS that forbids you from having children or from being able to ever have any? These people are such a cancer. It's like they can't reciprocate a social contract. Like they're not supposed to be part of the of our social project as human beings. Like they're not allowed to. It's not fair. Like they're just it's dead weight. It's so destructive.
And getting picked up by
Knowingly
shit tier content
lying.
creators who don't give a about anything. And we look through our mod mail. We search through it to see, well, this post, was it ever made? Because that's certainly not something we would ever do. And sure enough, there's zero record of it. It was completely fabricated. And when we said that it was completely fabricated, surprise, surprise, the person who posted it erased their account and erased the thread and completely disappeared. Yet the rumor continued to persist on their subreddit. It was never moderated. In fact, it was completely covered up by the mod team of H3 Snark. Here they are. Here's the mods doxing our office.
Uh-oh.
Yes, this is actually a real screenshot. Hi, I know you're on break, so I'll just drop this info here in case you need it in the future. We found the H3 Studio and Teddy Fresh actual address. On the right is H3, on the left is TF. Studio listing.
God, they should just it's so funny that the other side is literally going off Reddit posts and clips that are maliciously interpreted and just being like, one side saying, oh yeah, he's got this disease that can kill you, and that you have to eat dog shit to catch it. And it's because they let dog shit all over the floor in the house where they have nannies, apparently. I don't know how that works. How can they have nannies? Like, but also there's dog everywhere. Like, okay. And the other side, you've got like a level of evidence that is being used to pursue legal action. Like, yeah, it's so different. The difference between like left-wing evidence, like tanky creator evidence versus like commentary community. If I don't know why, like if the commentary community was ever put in charge of like arguing the history of Israel-Palestine with someone like Denims or Hasan or even Banabnada, like the performance would just be so different. Like maybe they should do it just to demonstrate how, maybe they should just demonstrate the difference about how like the level of research and evidence is so asymmetrical.
The link, it's identical to the H3. Here's their address. This is insane. These are the moderators. This isn't even like the community members. These are the people running the subreddit. These people are knowingly putting us and employees in danger by sharing this address with each other with malicious intent. So once I started discussing that we had an informant in their
Kiwi Farms versus Snark. The problem with Kiwi Farms is like they're so hit and miss. Like it's very interesting watching a story unfold that I actually know quite a lot about that isn't public, and watching Kiwi Farms speculate on it and watching how often they will just kind of like take a thread and just follow it down this completely incorrect direction. So yeah, unfortunately, too much speculating. They get a little bit too get a little bit too confident, those guys.
ranks that was sending me this kinds of stuff. Surprise, surprise, the moderators deleted their accounts and voluntarily closed the subreddit. Fascinating. After H3 Snark closed down, all the users migrated to another subreddit, H3H3 Productions. And if you can believe it, the H3H3 Productions subreddit is actually even more insane because there's no active moderators. I encourage you guys just to hop on over to H3H3 Productions and just look through it. Read the comments, look through the posts. You're not going to believe what you see there. And if you want to take a walk through memory lane, go over to H3 Snark 2 and see what the posts that are left up there and enjoy. Just to give you an idea about the CPS thing, here's an excerpt from the new Snark page, an exchange of great minds. All I know is that the more he's with, the less he pushes Israeli propaganda. Therefore, I can only conclude that it is a good thing and that it must continue. The ethics of it mean absolutely nothing to me. A response, you summarized it pretty much. Now, this is all taking place on Reddit. Active brigading harassment to the actual point of trying to break up our family and call CP.
Lonerbox, are you just some cringe YouTube drama channel these days? No, I completely reject that label. I am a multi-layered. I do cringe drama. I do debates. I do debate reacts. I do research. I do presentations. I do news. I do all this. I just like the drama, okay? And I'm also one of few streamers left who still enjoys this drama and still thinks it's worth talking about. I'm sorry, who else is going to react to all this drama with Snark and Ethan and the defamation and make analogies to the French Revolution and Jacques Hébert and the cartoonists who used to lie habitually against their opponents and defame people for political gain. Who else does that? Okay, we need more hubris. Actually, you know, if you're not going to be your own biggest fan, who else is going to do it?
P.S. Has Reddit done anything, despite us complaining?
I'm a key worker,
making noise, reaching out for the past 2 years about this snark community. Worse, I believe, and I will show you why, that Reddit is colluding.
Did anyone else Google Giorda and see how quickly you can find out that it doesn't have to get spread through eating dog, that you can contract, that it can be contracted fairly easily just from animal contact? Did anyone else even look that up? Like, we're bringing so much to the table, you guys. What the stop complaining.
Protecting the moderators of this snark community. I believe that there's admins that work inside of Reddit that are members of this community and actively protecting it. I will show you my evidence. The first thing is that Hila works with a management company who has a connection to Reddit community managers. We first went through them, an official channel, to say, hey, this snark is out of control. They're harassing us all. They're definitely violating your site rules. Can you look into it? A day later, guess what? The snark page was permanently closed. Hooray, we said. That was awesome. All we needed was one person to take a look at it, and obviously it wasn't compliant with the rules. Well, 3 days later, the snark page was reinstated fully, and they made this post to celebrate. H3 mod announcement. We're back after a much-needed break. We are just a group of volunteers, and we appreciate your...
I don't know if there's much... There's 10 minutes left of this video. Does he actually show you where the dog claim originated, like where people started saying that this was his doing? Was it on Snark? Because the oldest reference I can see to that allegation is Bad Empanada, but that's from the YouTubers. So maybe he got it off Snark. No more discussions or mentions of Bad Empanada. We cannot endorse this creator due to the risk he poses to the sub's future. Oh no.
Your patience. Our relationship with Reddit is currently better than ever.
Yeah, he plays the clip, but is it dated? Is the clip the original allegation? Yeah, I know he spoke about it, but is there an original Snark thread or post that got amplified that started putting those dots together and embellishing somewhat?
And we're in good communication with the admins. Now that to me stood out quite tremendously, considering that our subreddit with 600,000 users, the second biggest podcast subreddit on the entire site behind Joe Rogan, has never had contact with admins. They have never...
Yeah, I know Ethan said his kid had it, and he also said that, I think jokingly, that you need to eat to get it, but I'm talking about who actually said that he was doing this, that he was endangering his kids by letting dogs all over the floor and letting kids eat it whilst having nannies, apparently. Like, where did that come from? Was Bad Empanada the originator of that version of the story? Because I think he seems to have been, but I don't know if Snark were spreading it before he did. Started in Denims chat. I don't believe it did. She was reacting to Bad Empanada talking about it, so you're making that up. I don't know.
Reached out to us. So why is it that the admins are in constant contact with this small...
Was it Denims chat that said where the call CPS thing came from? Okay.
Niche subreddit dedicated to harassing people, but we, one of the biggest subreddits on the website, have not heard a single word from them ever. When someone created a Snark page dedicated to Hasan Piker, it was immediately deleted for harassment. Take a look. The subreddit was banned due to a violation of Reddit's content policy against harassing content. So it's harassing when it happens to Hasan Piker, but it's okay, great behavior when it happens to Ethan Klein. What's with the double standard? What about Trisha? Trishyland was a huge Snark subreddit. It was super active, and these people were, really nasty. Trishyland was also banned. The reason given is this subreddit has been banned for excessive copyright removals. Now, that's specifically interesting and extremely suspect, considering we've performed dozens of copyright strikes on the Snark subreddit. We have removed dozens of posts. All the posts we removed had zero commentary or specifically stated that their intention was to steal and siphon views from our property. Besides being granted dozens of DMCA takedowns, Reddit has actually had the nerve to serve us counter notifications on these, or to downright reject dozens and dozens of legitimate DMCA requests outright. Now, how the does Trisha get her subreddit removed for copyright infringement? Meanwhile, when I try to do DMCA takedowns on the subreddit, they literally get denied by Reddit. It's my opinion that the stated reason of repeated copyright infringement is a total cover-up. Listen to Trisha in her own words describe how she got her snark permanently banned from Reddit.
It's like one of the downsides about being online, I'm sure, and then when you become a mom, I'm curious about how you're seeing and feeling about, if you don't mind. Yeah. You don't have to answer this, but like it's one thing for you to like insult me or like the work I've done or me leaning into nostalgia, but it's another thing that if you bring my kids into it, like I'm gonna throw hands.
Yeah.
And
it's
I'm
a whole
gonna
different thing.
find your profile. I'm not just gonna block it.
Oh yeah. Dude, I found him. I did a whole documentary.
Saying he has JD Vance. I'm not.
Story
JD
started
Vance.
from Ethan, but then it was twisted into his kids' age from Bad and Panada. Well, that's the impression I'm getting because this is from 3 weeks ago. This is where he talks about it, I believe. Around here.
Title.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I apologize for interrupting with the caca breath comment. What's the next step with?
Okay,
you
so now because I have caca breath, and they don't think it's like a big contributor to my issues, but it could explain some of the ongoing stomach issues I've had with like the these like infrequent, like semi-annual sulfuric
Gentle on your stomach.
digestion I've talked about.
Yeah.
So I have to take 2 antibiotics, once 3 times a day, the other 2 times a day for 2 weeks straight. What? The one I have to take 3 times a day is the biggest pill I've ever seen in my life.
Oh.
And one of them cost $2,000.
What?
Well, one of them was like, your insurance hasn't approved it yet. And I said, well, how much is it? I'll just pay for it out of pocket. She says $2,000. I was like, no, you
For the bottle, okay.
for the 14-day regimen. Wow. But I got it approved. Now it still costs $250.
That's still expensive, yeah.
$2,000?
Damn.
So anyway, I got those. Now I'm on all this Sudafed. Oh yeah, my doctor who's trying to fix my cough also put me on an antibiotic in case it's some post-viral infection.
Are they talking to each other?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're not. I don't know if they're necessarily talking, but they know what
They're aware
drugs.
of what the other prescribed. Okay. That's good.
Ethan.
Up, Doolittle.
H3 is being a little bitch again.
Oh.
So that's only one part of it. The next part is
what's the next?
That Olive has giardia, which is a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea.
And Olive has this?
Olive has this. Yeah, she came to us with it.
Okay.
She had diarrhea, and
oh, poor baby.
Ducky came to us with that too, and I just wonder why.
It's relatively common.
It should be. They should have found it already. But anyway, so she has giardia, so we have her on an antibiotic, but we had to wait until Monday, which is today. We just got it today, and well, Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has giardia.
Oh,
And
no.
now Hila has giardia.
Shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my god.
What can I do to not get it? From
Yeah,
you?
I'm trying
because I'm not trying to get
No,
it.
even if you ran with this, wouldn't you also say that Ethan and Hila were eating as well? Like
maybe it's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop. Are you planning on that?
Never.
Not really.
So then you're fine.
But
Like
unfortunately,
he said that, but then if you're saying this and you're like, okay, this is the kind of profile that you need to have. You need to be like, I'm sincerely worried about these kids. I'm too stupid and too like much of an invalid to Google giardia to actually see if that's true about how it's contracted. I also need to believe that there's all over the house and that the kid just ate it directly. And then I also need to believe that Ethan and Hila ate it as well before making this call. So even if people try to use this clip against Ethan and try to use it as an argument to call CPS, yeah, you know you have to be malicious unless someone wants to come forward and just out themselves as the most incompetent propagandist, disgusting ever. Then yeah, this is malicious. Yeah.
Problem is,
you just told us that your poop is flowing out of your mouth. It's like
Yeah,
in the
literally.
air, bro.
that's not what I said. That's literally that's what
admitted
you
had
said.
caca breath.
No, that's what you said. I said. Well, anyway, so let me continue, please.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So because
Keep it
it can go on surfaces and stuff. So Olive chews everywhere. She's there. So Sonny, it makes sense why he got it. Then once he starts having these crazy diarrheas, like in the middle of the night, all day, all the time, he's having these crazy diarrheas. Then when me and Hila start having to get in there and changing his diaper, obviously you put him down, you wash your hands as best you can, but these are really nasty diarrheas.
And they put their hands into the poop.
So I haven't been diagnosed with it. Neither has Hila. Sonny went to the doctor today to get a poop evaluation, but I'm pretty sure he has it because the symptoms is like frequent and then extremely foul-smelling diarrheas.
They never confirmed whether anyone had it either. Okay. Yeah, this is all. Yeah. Okay. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
Documentary on Reddit. I had a horrible snark Reddit that was like posting pictures of her doctor, like all this stuff like that, like just making fun of her, like showing where her future schools would
This
be.
motherfucker.
Yeah. So I did a whole documentary. I had a whole crew come out. It was like a month process, and I did this whole documentary. I like hired a private investigator.
So like you
found
did a
everybody.
troll hunter.
Yeah.
like,
1,000%.
documentary.
1,000%. And ultimately, I don't even know if it'll come out because it worked. Now all my snark Reddits are taken down. The minute one is created, it gets taken down within 20 minutes.
They're like, yeah, we don't fuck with Trisha.
Yeah, I don't know. I called Reddit. I went on this like website to get everybody who worked at like Reddit. I like said this is.
I've done all of that and more over a longer period of time, 2 years. With
Lonerbox, why is Ethan telling people his infant son got infected with Giardia? I don't know. I don't know. Why do some victims dress provocatively? I have no idea. Like what are you trying to say? I'm sorry. I'm just holy. Okay, I'm over it. What a stupid thing to ask. Jesus Christ.
With escalating levels of harassment, why was it that Trisha and Hasan's were taken down, but mine remains up? Why did Reddit list the reason as copyright infringement when the actual reason was harassment as explained by Trisha? By the way, the DMCAs are written by my attorney. It's not even some like ragtag where I do it myself. My attorney writes it out, well-reasoned, well-sourced.
I'm a drama channel. That's what I am. I'm a drama channel.
And Reddit ignores it. How is that possible? This is one of my favorite examples. We made a subreddit called Snark to make fun of snark subreddits in general. And the community was actually starting to pick up steam and become pretty active. Well, it was removed. Why was it removed? For harassment. But wait, it gets even better. A few days later, maybe a week later, it's back open. And the moderator now that owns the subreddit is a user named Shredder Cheese, which is a mod.
Will you do debates today? I might do a call-in. What are we debating? What's the argument? What's the scrap? Are we arguing about this? Oh no.
For
Oh,
H3
no.
Snark. Shredder Cheese is a reference to a story they love to tell about how I killed my beloved dog Shredder by feeding him
Israel.
cheese.
Oh, no.
The mod for H3 Snark
Oh, God.
named Shredder Cheese is now the owner of Snark. How, Hila asks. I would also like to know how the f is that possible? What the f is going on? Of all the harassing posts on the new Snark, the reports are being denied. Now, let me show you an example of one of the posts, just one of many, that Reddit refused to remove. The title is, I'm calling CPS on Ethan again. It says, this time because his kids are around Zionists, which is a high predictor for baby murder. This is a post that is still up on this subreddit that was reported, and Reddit admins reviewed this and said, no, this is compliant. In closing, let's take a look at Reddit's #1 rule for using their site. #1 rule. Remember the human. Reddit is a place for creating community and belonging, not for attacking marginalized or vulnerable groups of people. Everyone has a right to use Reddit free of harassment, bullying, and threats of violence. Communities and users that incite violence or promote hate based on identity or vulnerability
Are call-ins anonymous? Like you don't have your YouTuber's brain rot name will show up on the screen, but you don't have to name yourself. No, you have to identify your ASL. Just gotta be in the Discord.
will be banned. This post does not violate rule #1, according to people that work at Reddit and have reviewed it manually. At first, I thought I was crazy. I was like, there's no way Reddit is actually colluding to protect them.
ASL is like an old is it acronym or abbreviation? Why have I forgotten the difference between those two things? It's an acronym. Age, sex, and location. It's what people used to use in the 2000s, like asking for people's ASLs.
But after 2 years passed and the just keeps piling up, there's literally no other conclusion that could explain this. In my content nuke, I explore the idea that Twitch has been ideologically captured, and the people in that company are using their terms of service selectively as a form of activism. They come down hard against people that they disagree with politically, and they ignore, protect, elevate the people that they do agree with politically. Something happened recently that's going to blow your mind. I started running reruns of Content Nuke on my Twitch channel as a form of protest, being petty, honestly, and just wanting people on Twitch to see the video I made. Well, wouldn't you know it, if on the same day we launched it, our stream was closed.
Oh no, Scrimpy knows. Chat room. Oh no, one is cyber AS. Oh no.
for 30 days. We got a suspension for 30 days. That's pretty severe. What is it that we did wrong? Encouraging or glorifying extreme violence. So to get this straight, my video showing Hasan supporting terrorism got me a 30-day ban for encouraging and glorifying extreme violence. Hasan's footage of him doing it on their platform and actually encouraging terrorism, no punishment. How the can you be this blatantly, pathetically obvious? They don't care. Nothing's changing. They don't care. They're spitting in our face. They're flaunting it. They don't give a. I got banned for 30 days for showing his content that he wasn't punished for. Make it make sense. And, you know, people go, oh, it was automated. It was probably a mistake. Well, fair enough, right? And that's why I appealed it. And within a few hours, I got the answer on the appeal. Your account was recently suspended for encouraging or glorifying extreme violence. And a member of our team has reviewed your appeal. And after taking a look into the details of your case, we have determined that your account will remain suspended due to your violation of our community guidelines. I have never been so black-pilled in my life. I feel like I am trapped and that the world has gone insane. This is bananas. What is happening? And I feel that I'm getting the same treatment now from Reddit. Now, I know they're both San Francisco-based tech companies, but did you know that these two companies in San Francisco, their headquarters are blocks away from each other? It's just interesting. It's just interesting because it shows there's some culture happening in this tech space. I think that these people are all very similar-minded. I think that's what this is telling me. Because you got to fit in. If you're going to work at one of these tech companies, you got to fall in line. You know what I mean? You got to be one of the good guys. Actually,
0.7 miles. But in America, that means you need to drive, doesn't it?
At one of these tech companies, you got to fall in line. You know what I mean? You got to be one of the good guys. Actually, I found out that our stream got suspended for 30 days live on the podcast.
Because it's your account. Oh, your account is currently suspended. To view more information about your enforcement, file an appeal. Okay.
Oh my God! It got banned for encouraging or glorifying extreme violence.
Whoa.
That's fucking
wow.
That's Hasan's content that's on your platform that he didn't get in trouble for.
That was very funny. Like, this was unbelievable. Unless has anyone pointed to anything that Ethan said in that video that might have been the TOS violation? Like, there wasn't a Hasan clip. I'm trying to think, but I honestly can't remember him doing anything that would have crossed the line that the Hasan clips didn't.
Holy
How long is the ban?
Well, it should be only a day ban, right? In theory.
Well,
in theory, it should be no ban because it's his content.
Guys, I got a 30-day ban.
30 days?
30 day, and I didn't even say 30-day ban. I mean, it was worth it to do this just for
They revoked it. Well, they revoked it after a review, though. They said they did a manual review and that it was still staying banned, and then it became revoked, which is like, it's just very, I don't know. I don't know that much about like all these tech platforms, so I don't really make any strong, I don't make any strong statements, but it's just a bit suspicious, that's all. It's just very strange behavior. It only got revoked after Elon retweeted it. Do you think they care about Elon? I mean, Elon's a big guy, I guess. Are they worried that Elon's going to buy Twitter? I don't know. Like, don't know. Also, yeah, people did watch the nuke itself on stream. Yeah, people reacted to the whole thing, start to finish, on Twitch and did not get banned. So it's just weird that the video of it looping got banned. It's just very suspicious, okay? And then they ban it, and then they say a manual review is going to keep it banned for 30 days, but then they revoke it.
I'm surprised that they're this pathetic.
Yeah, because
I genuinely am too.
That's a manual ban too.
Now, after our appeal was denied, the story started to go viral for its blatant, obvious, laughably absurd hypocrisy, at which point they panicked and unbanned our stream with an apology. We're so sorry for the inconvenience. We made the wrong decision. Well, somebody made the wrong decision manually twice. You want to explain that? Oh, here we are, where it's acceptable to call child protective services on people as an act of political protest on a website, Reddit, in which they do not care, they protect it, they enable it. I have a meeting with CPS on Wednesday where they're going to talk to my children. Twitch is banning us for showing Hasan promoting terrorism. Ban me.
Oh yeah, he did blur footage, didn't he? He blurred the footage of the Houthi pointing a gun at someone. Was that in the content nuke or was that somewhere else? There was blurred footage in the content nuke, wasn't there? Even though some of that blurred footage was streamed on Twitch.
For 30 days, no punishment for him. What the is going on? As I prepare to meet CPS agents to talk to our children, I wonder, at what point has this gone too far? And how much worse can it get before something is done about it?
Whoa. Sharp ending. What
Who
the Game of Thrones. Okay, thank you. That's pretty wow chat. Pretty crazy. Yup. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yup. Wow. That's my opinion. He still hasn't done... He's also got the Hasan Part 2 nuke as well, doesn't he? There's quite a few things he's going for. I don't know if that's the end of it. Ethan is unbanned due to the backlash. Well, he's unbanned due to something. Again, like I don't like to do... Because you can never really know why... You can never really know why everyone is doing what they're doing in these platforms because it's all so very obscured, which makes it very annoying to commentate on because you just have to make guesses or say, oh, educated guess or like maybe this, but no conviction, really, low conviction. Who knows? Clayben Trace, thanks for the $1. And Omer Gerber, thanks for the 15 shekels. Glad to see you back streaming. Hey. Redhead, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Eth Angry Klein, nothing to H3H3 about here. Okay. Fast and Bulbous, thanks for the $3. That beard is entirely comprised of Giardia. Okay. George Costanza in Criminal Minds, thanks for the £5. Have you ever spoken about Naughty Torta? Have you and her ever spoken about Naughty Torta? Oh, me and Denims. How else do you think I know that she knows he's mental? Anyway. Andrew, thanks for the 5 gifted subs. And George again, how do I stop sending you super chats? Good question. Sorry, Durf, thanks for the tier 2 sub. Dennis probably got diarrhea from eating an empanada that had gone bad. Okay. TV, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Not beating the label with Catch Them When You're Young. Dwayne, thanks for the $5. I don't believe Denim has the mental capacity to form memories now. If it's wrong to be mean to her, is it not wrong to traumatize children? Good question. Alzheimer's patients, etc. Abuse that doesn't leave permanent physical. It's so stupid. All right. And Zero. Thanks to the 25 now. I think SAR is Saudi Reals, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Thanks for the 25 Reals. Appreciate it. Nice one. Let's watch the Noah video, Community Hate Watch. We probably will. What are these donos? Oh, my community is just very mental. I don't know. They just got a weird sense of humor. Couldn't be anything to do with the scat content that we've been covering. It's so disgusting. All right, hang on. Two-Tone wanted to talk, though. Hasan fan. Or I don't know if he still has Hasan fan, but he wanted to talk. Let's see. Hello.
Oh, hello. Long time no talk.
Yeah,
wait, let me mute myself. So I wanted to talk on Israel and a little bit of drama, if that's fine. Drama. Yeah. So about yesterday when Parker said Hamas is a lesser evil, you scoffed at that and I can't really find a reason how they're not. I don't know if we debated this last time, I forgot, but their civilian to casualty ratio, what was it, 800 to 400? So it was far better than what Israel did in Gaza. Their overall amount of crimes is far lower. They're not the oppressors. They are fighting back. Their goal is more Israel I don't know how anybody can see that Israel's not the greater evil in every way.
Okay. So the civ combatant ratio, number of crimes.
October 7th.
Okay, number of crimes and oppressor oppressed. Okay. First of all, we don't actually know the civ combatant ratio in Gaza. We have never had any confirmation of it. Assuming you're right, though.
But it's likely to be way higher.
Assuming.
It's like
I don't know.
I
don't know. Well, assuming let's just assume it is. Okay. Civ combatant ratios. What do they tell you?
How much civilians died per militant, and it usually is indicative of how good one's military is at targeting militants and not indiscriminately bombing. Yeah.
Is indicative the same as definitive or determinative?
No.
Why not?
Because I know the argument you're gonna make is that Hamas makes it harder. Is that the argument you're gonna?
Harder to target their own soldiers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you also know about Hamas's plan, how their operation on October 7th, and what the actual objectives were and what the waves were, the 3 waves? The first wave was to take out the security points at the border where they mostly killed soldiers. But the second wave was to get the villages, the communities that did not have soldiers in them, right? The kibbutzim. So the only purpose of them going through the soldiers was to get to the civilians. So it's like, I think their intent matters there. Whereas I don't know if the IDF if you can show me evidence of the IDF like literally fighting past Hamas soldiers so they can get to Palestinian civilians. Because it seems like what the IDF does is the other way around.
There's been a lot of stories. There's been a lot of stories of like how doctors have said like quadcopters have came and like picked off children. There's like been obviously credible reports of more than usual like of sniping shots. There's been lots of credible reports of they've like completely shut off. They completely not let aid in. I think they just recently announced that. I don't know if they're gonna stop it yet, but and all the limitations have came because of the United States. Hamas has no limitations. Like Hamas is not relying on any limitations. Like at least during the Biden administration, they did have limitations. I imagine if they're not, they would complete far more greater crimes. So I'm saying Israel has intent to do even more evil than they can, and they probably will carry it out. No, unless a full ceasefire goes through.
Okay. Hamas's limitation is the fact that they can't get access to that many Israelis, right? Because the IDF will stop them.
Yeah.
They defeated an army.
Yeah.
They defeated the Gaza division for about 10 hours. And in that space, they managed to kill like over 1,000 people. I don't know if there's been any single day in the war where Israel has killed that many people, like civilians. Maybe not since like Sabra Shatila. So it's like the whole, it's hard to compare two groups in terms of the amount of crimes they commit in asymmetrical warfare, because one group has so much more opportunity to commit war crimes than the other one, right? But I think Hamas kind of told us, they made it very clear to us what they would do if they had Israel's power, if they had Israel's firepower and control over the airspace and the ground. Like, you think they would be anywhere near as sparing as the IDF, like comparatively? I just don't think so. I don't see it. They stumbled across the Nova. They stumbled across the Nova Festival, and the guy were screaming like, "It's our lucky day." They were happy to have that many civilians contained in one place.
I know they stumbled across it. Yeah, I've heard that as well. Yeah. I'm not saying I don't know if they had the greater power. I don't know because I think the leading goal that there's any militant resistance is because of oppression, not because of just innate anti-Semitism. Like these are like just anti-Semitic dogs out there like going out and like doing like thing. But I do think they do, whether it will lead to oppression of the Jews. That I do think they have a goal to emancipation. And by emancipation, I mean, they probably want the whole thing back. For them, emancipation means, I know this is not what emancipation means for them. Emancipation means having the whole of Palestine back and letting the 80% of their population return to like Ashkelon or like wherever they live to, and that can be viewed as emancipation in my opinion. So I'm saying that somewhat is a justifiable goal.
You think destroying Israel militarily is a justifiable goal?
Yeah, if the Jews live there equally, yeah, 100%.
Do you think Hamas has given us any indication that they would let the Israelis live there equally?
Some members have.
In what way?
Didn't they change their charter to say it's only against Zionism? Or didn't they like make that little change in 2017?
When the PLO changed their charter to recognize Israel, when the PLO changed their charter, they had an entire session where people voted on it and the top, and they disowned officially the old one, and the new one replaced it. Like the changes were officially done, because that's how you do that. If you're going to change like the American Constitution or anything else, it's a process. Hamas just published a statement that wasn't even a charter. It was a document of principles or something like that. They didn't touch the old charter. The old charter is still there. It's not even, and you can even look at their actions. If you can look at their, it also doesn't change the fact that they say our fight is with Zionism, not Jews. Well, like every Israeli Jew is a Zionist, barring like 1% maybe. Okay, so
Yeah, but
that's
not,
who they're targeting,
yeah.
and their military action is their military action more in line with the first chart or the second one? It seems like it's got more to do with the first one.
Probably the first. Yeah, yeah. If they, yeah. Okay. Okay. I'd like to move on to the drama aspect. I would like to go back, but for the drama aspect, I've been wanting to get this off my chest because I feel like bad that like this is parasocial, really parasocial. But I feel bad that Hasan doesn't defend himself when there are like so much things he could like. To me, watching you have to admit, like Ethan Klein is more pro-Israel than he lets on. Like he's been calling it a war. He's like he says segregation is not real. The only reason he calls it a genocide is because he knows if he doesn't call it a genocide, his fans will eat him up. Because his fans are still the H3 fans are still pro-Palestine. They're not like other pro-Israel like liberal a person used to. They're not like that audience. So he knows he'll eat him up. But like he's much more like from his language you can see how he's like a Biden supporter, how he's like saying, oh, I'm gonna go to Israel to see how free it is, how I see Israel, and saying I love Israel. This is one thing I love, and the reason he's angry at Hasan is not due to anti-Semitism. It's due to narcissism that his own fan base. If you looked at the mega threads in like the thing when he was on like Hasan's stream, his own fan base, not Hasan's fan, not crossover fans, but his own fan base was angry with his takes, that saying that Jews that advocate for Palestinians are akin to capos, or making even sliding that comparison. And and this is not just a lie, and this is not because Hasan turned them on them. This is because Hasan I was watching his streams. It's not because he turned them on them. And even you can see through like the dishonesty. So for example, the take where Hasan said, even if happened, it doesn't change my dynamic. There's actually 3 months ago, and Ethan saying, I understand that. I understand that. There was the clip for when it was in the Richie Torres note letter saying, I understand that. And then he uses it in his thing. So he's being initially intentionally malice. I'm saying this because he's literally saying I understand where it came from, and I understand that clip and it's reasonable. And then 3 months later he puts the exact same clip as a own to say he denies rape. And even in the UN report Pamela pattern, this related thing, it said 0.86. This report is not to determine the extent of the rapes, and it said it's not investigative in nature. So that report didn't say that there was mass. It just said that mass occurred. No UN report has came up that said that there was systematic mass. That was only from the New York Times. No UN report has said that. And I'm saying it's just a fact. Yeah. So that's what I was saying. That's my end point.
Okay, that's like a cluster bomb you've just dropped on me. Is there any particular dealer's choice? Which one of these do you want me to address? I can do any of them.
Like the fact that I think his main goal of attacking Hasan is that he's mad that his own audience was angry with his takes, and not just Hasan's audience. And it's not due to anti-Semitism, because me watching Hasan, I see personally that he has talked a lot, and he has talked a lot about anti-Semitism that Jews are facing. He has called out anti-Semitism, any notion that Jews control media. He even goes to the fact that like Israel controls America, which is false, and like all this stuff. I've not seen him push one anti-Semitic trope, and then the only quote. I have not seen him push one anti-Semitic trope. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. That's still multiple things. It's like, okay, I'm going to choose one. The UN report on, I don't know why people do this straw man by saying like mass were ordered by Hamas or anything else. Again, the claim has always been that there was a given the scope of the attack, given how it was concentrated in a very small area, and in the fact that Hamas only had military superiority over these areas for less than 12 hours. Given that scope and given that small concentration of area, there's quite an alarming amount of evidence of sexual violence. Given that conflict, the Israel-Palestine conflict, compared to say like Yugoslavia or whatever, has generally had fairly low levels of sexual violence from both sides. And this one stands out. The commission, the UN report, 0.95, the commission did say the attack enabled perpetrators to commit sexual-related SGBV and this violence was not isolated, but perpetrated in similar ways in several locations and by multiple Palestinian perpetrators. I've never seen Hasan reiterate this idea.
That there's multiple. I don't think I've ever seen him deny that there's multiple. So I've seen him just say that he just always said not mass, which can mean a lot of things. And Israel, as you know, has been blocking like a full depth UN investigation into as you know, like the 10th of January, there was an article about how they're blocking full UN investigations because that Perimeter Pattern report, it said it was not investigation. It literally said
it was a fact-finding mission, and again,
and then there was another one in June.
Lots of UN reports are like this, though. The fact that it was a fact-finding mission doesn't like.
I'm saying, why is Israel blocking it? If it's this conclusive, why is Israel blocking like on the just on sexual violence? The UN wants to go, but Israel's blocking it currently.
Because Israel generally just doesn't trust the UN. Israel in the past have argued that even when they give evidence to the UN, like they would argue that, and I don't agree with them for doing this. I think they should cooperate with the UN because like it's better just to say that you've done that. But in the past, like Israel has literally like shown evidence to the UN, and the UN is still, or people from the UN have still stuck by conclusions that are opposed to them. So it's like, why would you bother in that case? Because you know how Goldstone retracted his a lot of his findings from the report in 2008, but a bunch of the other authors still stuck by it. So now to this day, people can still say, oh yeah, even though we've seen the evidence, like we still stand by this report, even though there are sections of the Goldstone report that are completely false, like they're completely debunkable, even by Hamas's own admissions. So yeah, I can see why Israel is weird about the UN, but like I don't support them doing it, but that doesn't, I don't think it indicates any guilt or any like that they're not going to find something. I think there's already more than enough evidence of quite a lot of.
And to be honest, I think in the article said that part of them blocking it was due to that they didn't want to, because of their own, because it was going to investigate both sides. So they didn't, because they didn't want to be put on the blacklist of sexual violence because of their own crimes against Palestinians. I don't. So I concede your point that maybe it's not due to a lack of evidence.
And also, it's like you've seen all the moments where no one says mass or no, like, but Hasan will, like, Kamala Harris will just say people were horribly, and he'll like grimace at it, right? He's done that a few times.
I will say why. I watched the context of the clip. I watched the context because so that was after the DNC, and there was like hope that she was going to be better. And then she said because like it was she hadn't really spoken in Israel-Palestine yet that much, and then that first interview was her like establish, see if she would change from Biden on that policy, and then it was clipped in the chat, but she said no, we will always defend Israel. And then the fact is, the reason he grimaced is because there's a obvious double standard to talk about that happened a year ago and say, and like the language, the passive language, you have to admit she used extremely passive language she uses towards Palestinians.
Yeah, but he didn't grimace when he was talking about Palestinians. He did this, like she started by saying October 7th, there was the attack, people were killed, people were horribly. He didn't even wait to see what she was going to say about Palestinians before it was in response to that he did that. And he's done it. And again, he's done it more than once. He's done it quite a few times now. It's like, and again, it's like, can you imagine if I did this for like Dare Yassin? Like, even let's say that his position is actually that quite a few of them happened, much more than you'd expect from such a small space of time in a small area. Let's say he believes it in that way. Can you imagine every time I saw someone talking about Dare Yassin, all I did was just go, are you going to say that the happened, even though it actually turns out that the witnesses said no happened, and that's the only thing I focus on when I talk about Dare Yassin? It's like, well,
he doesn't do it every time. He's done it like once or twice.
I think there's quite a big handful of those instances. But he keeps on talking about like the one credible statement from someone in captivity.
Piece of evidence.
But that's not what you say. But that's what, and they also said that there were credible witnesses who spoke about multiple cases outside of captivity.
No, because he was arguing with a chatter, so he wants to present the strongest piece of evidence. That, like, because first-hand accounts are like the strong. Whether I'm sure he takes, because he read the whole UN report on stream. First-hand accounts are the strongest piece of evidence, so he's trying to convince that chatter that it's happened, and you usually use the strongest piece of evidence.
You think he was trying to convince a chatter that it's happened, that any happened at all.
Well, in one of those clips, yeah, in one of those clips, he was arguing with a channel. But yeah, anyways.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, but like it was so disgusting how like he pulled up that woman that like Ethan thinks Hasan denied. And he said there's a UN report. Like Hasan denies that UN report. You literally read it on stream and it's thing. So you could admit that. Like, could you admit that in the content? Like it was a little bit uncharitable.
No, because I don't think I've ever heard Hasan ever.
What about the inbred?
Like I've never heard. No, one thing at a time. The inbred thing is stupid. Okay, I don't agree with Ethan on that. If we're talking about I don't think I need to see an instance of Hasan actually just accurately describing the scale of what happened and given it like in context of how short a space of time it was and in such a small area. Like, I just want to see that. I've never seen that.
Yeah, but through the content, you would think that Hasan denies outright that there was no, and that's just wrong. You would think that because he said he just full on denies. That's what he says in the.
In the content, I think does he not bring up the one instance in captivity?
Yeah, no, but then he mischaracterizes those clips after saying,
"Hey, fine."
He's a deny. He denies on October 7th.
He lights him off,
and then you know what's the funny thing about calling Jews inbred? Because Hasan calls settlers inbred, but there's a clip of Ethan in a bus going around Hasidic Jews calling them stinky and calling, and then he has the exact words.
Yeah,
so
I
he's
agree.
projecting.
I agree
he's
with
projecting his.
Okay, hang on. I just need to.
Yeah.
Watches their propaganda, but he's not going to deny the violent rapes that took place. That is way beyond the pale.
Yeah, I really wish Hasan defended himself. He's been hinting that he will make a video. He's saying he's like conflicting on it, so I hope he does.
No, but he can't. He needs other people to do it for him because he's insecure.
No, you can make one like he did on Asmongold. That's what.
Yeah, because Asmongold is like the easiest target. Yeah.
There is one instance in captivity that we have actually gotten verifiable evidence on. Beyond that, the system...
This isn't true either, though. Verifiable evidence. Would you ever set... He would never set the standard for anywhere else where it happened. You wouldn't. Is credible witness testimony not like... Would you not call that verifiable evidence? The thing is, if you use the standard that Hasan's using, then Sabra Shatila didn't have, because the highest profile that we know about from Sabra Shatila came from witnesses. They didn't see it happen. In one case, the most high profile was that the 19-year-old. That wasn't even a witness who saw it happen. That was a witness who found her after she died. Like, but I think that was that statement is very credible based on what was presented. But for some reason, witness statements are not credible in this. Yeah, it's just very odd. It's very odd.
Okay, you can say that he downplays it, but you can't say he denies it.
No, I think he downplays it. But also, like that, then you reach the standard. And I would agree with you here if left wingers didn't do this thing where they think downplaying is the same as denial. They do that to me. They do that to people when it comes to Holocaust denial. Most Holocaust deniers don't say nothing. Most Holocaust deniers don't say nothing happened. They say that some people died, but not as many as 6 million, and they get called deniers, rightly so, because they're denying the it's denying the officially accepted narrative. I'm not comparing them, buddy. It's an analogy.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's not even an analogy. It's just like we're isolating the standard of how you call someone a denier versus a downplayer. But in lots of other circumstances, downplayers are akin to deniers. Yeah.
I think he should have said at best like downplays. I don't think he should have said that denies, because if you're looking at this and you didn't know Hasan, you'd think he full out thinks like no rape happened, like that Z-Scurra person. When there is a difference between Hasan's position and like bad empanadas and Z and thing, where Hasan makes a distinction that he thinks that, I think even in a clip he said multiple rapes happened. So I think you should personally make that distinction. But yeah, that's just my opinion.
I tend to. Yeah. I don't think you'd ever extend that charge abilities to me, but we got to hold your own standards, eh?
Yeah. And
I'm trying to find, is it this? I don't know, I can't remember. Has Hasan ever watched Bad Empanada denying all the...
He has, and then I know what you're talking about. Then he clips, and he after that, they cut him out maliciously. He said, there's a clip where the bad empanada says that, and then he says, I think that did happen. So he said that he disagrees with that. I remember that was him watching like a hit piece video on you. So I was actually watching the stream then, but yeah.
Okay.
So he went on afterwards to clarify his position. So he's not like bad empanada who like fully thinks none happened. But yeah, and
interesting.
And I can show you that if you want. And also another thing about the content is that Hasan hiding his position being a socialist. I remember he got cancelled for buying a house. This was before he started Leftovers house, and everybody on Twitter was like, socialist who bought a 3 million the house. He has never hid being a socialist, and he maliciously uses a clip that Hasan says we should move towards a social democracy in short term. That's not his final goal. His final goal is I haven't read this Marxist theory as a thing. His final score is where workers own the means of production, not just capitalism with restrictions. So he has never hid being a liberal or anything like that. That's why he gets cancelled for the most ridiculous thing like buying a Porsche. Oh, I meant buying a house. Like that's a cancelable offense to Hasan, and that was before all this stuff. So yeah, just the whole content I found was so like he even said it. He said he did it out of spite, out of hate, and that hate I can think he's just been. I can't get into this. Is very passionate. The hate I think he's been getting into that his own fan base did not agree with his takes, and that's you would agree with that, right? His own H3 fan base didn't agree with his takes initially.
I don't think that matters, but it's hard to tell, isn't it? Because the H3 audience, how long had they been doing Leftovers for? How much of the H3 audience came from Hasan and vice versa, right?
You can see on the mega threads on the subreddit when Ethan on Hasan's stream, there's like a mega thread with 5.2 comments which I was seeing at the time. It was like everybody saying Ethan is acting so childish, and he lost and the Aaron Bushnell members only sub, like all the chat was things. So I'm saying the own H3 audience definitely did have a.
I mean, that's not entirely surprising. That's not entirely surprising to me, though, because like when you, if you make even like vaguely left-leaning content on in this space, then you are going to attract a bunch of psychos, like very, very far left, fucking authoritarian, whatever the fuck else, who do actually project all their nonsense onto you. And once they find out that you don't hold those positions, then it's a betrayal. That's happened to me. That's happened to Destiny at some point. Yeah, like
I'm saying it's not just all Hasan fans that were attacking him. It was his own fan base.
It would have been his own fan base as well. Yeah, because he was mostly shitting on right wingers, and then when you do that, you cultivate some liberals, you cultivate some social democrats, and you also cultivate some Hamas supporters and like very, very far left pro-Palestinians, or people who want to abolish Israel, or people who are socialists and communists. Yeah, that happens. Yeah, because that's a problem. It's a problem that and communists are partly to blame for this, because they do absolutely do this thing where they will behave like social democrats when it suits them, and then behave like pro-China authoritarians when the mainstream isn't looking. Hasan does do that.
Yeah, another thing about he brought this up as like on that Hasan was denying that there were death camps. In Xinjiang there aren't death camps. That's just a fact. Like it's just such a liberal and he saw like a Shen Yun documentary saying that they're organ harvesting. Like this all Uyghur genocide thing, because I call it a cultural genocide. I don't think it's a genocide, but it comes from this one Christian nationalist far right person who works at like this think tank called the Anti-Communist Adrian Sins. He's the only person that says that there's been sterilization, not the UN. The UN has said possible war crimes. They didn't even say war crimes. So I'm saying he in the thing he said. He also said the AP News article didn't exist, where they said they were literally opening up Xinjiang to tourism. That's why he said tourism out, because they were opening up.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time.
Yeah,
how did we? That AP article was not accurately characterized by Hasan in the slightest. The tourism hour.
But they did open up Xinjiang to tourism, and they got rid of the thing.
Right.
They opened it up to.
Do you really think Hasan's tone matches this article the way he's describing it? Are you kidding? You're joking, right? Like.
taking one section of the article where
What
they
does this
said
even
that they
prove?
opened
It's
up.
like, well, yeah, they did the job. Yeah, they've successfully destroyed a ton of Uyghur culture and rammed houses full of Han Chinese families and scared people into like a level of submission that's tolerable for them. But surveillance still remains, fear still remains. Yeah, man.
Yeah, but he doesn't deny. He's always said on Xinjiang. I watched his commentary. He said it. He said it's cultural genocide. That's what he said. He said that full on. He said it's completely unacceptable, and he likened to America's action of the 9/11, which he did like the war on terror, and he openly quotes Xi Jinping saying that, like he's making an analogy between what they're doing in Xinjiang to what America. So Hassan does not support what China does in Xinjiang. He has called it cultural genocide, which is like objectively what's happening. I don't think a genocide's happening. The UN hasn't said it's this one, not a Adrian Zin's far right German Christian nationalist who's promoting this theory of Uyghur genocide. But yeah,
And you think this is the only person who said that sterilizations were happening?
he's the one who's reported. Yeah, basically. Adrian Zins.
So you don't think Uyghurs themselves who have been into these camps have said that forced sterilization has happened to them?
There have been reports of that, but don't they do that to Han Chinese as well after they've had like 3 children? Don't they do that to Han Chinese people? Because there's the one-child policy, if I'm not mistaken. So is that really genocidal intent to destroy the culture if they're doing to the Han Chinese?
Do they?
If they're doing the same thing, they're giving, because there was obviously a policy which they lifted recently of only having one child per like couple.
I don't
So
know if
I
Han
wouldn't-
Chinese people are taken into camps and like re-educated in terms of their culture and forcibly sterilized. No, not as an entire group.
Yeah,
with the
if
intent
they're
with the intent
sterilizing-
of like, because sterilization would be the, again, genocide convention is the way it is, but sterilization does come under it because it's to prevent births, like forced sterilization with the intent. And I don't think that Adrian guy is the only source of the fact that birth rates in the Uyghur population are far lower than has happened with every other group in China, right?
If they are sterilizing, then I'd consider a genocide. I'd have to look more into it, see what the UN report says and stuff like that. If it's occurring, if they're like sterilizing en masse Uyghurs, then that's up and probably pushes the line into genocide. But there's no like death camps or anything or organ harvesting. That like none of that has been fucking. I don't know if Hassan denies there. Like he says culture genocide, which is what most people describe. But like the organ harvesting and thing that Ethan like put in the clip of like thing to make it seem that Hassan was downplaying. No, he's just saying the fact that they're not ostrich style death camps, which they're not. That's just a factual statement, right? They're not death camps.
Yeah, but that's not the only, him correcting Ethan to say they're not death camps isn't the issue with Hassan's coverage on.
Then why
the
does he
Uyghurs.
include that?
Like,
then why does
because
why
Ethan's
does
a
he include
because
that?
Ethan's a normie. Like it would be a mistake. It would be that he doesn't know the situation all that well. But that doesn't necessarily get Hasan off the hook, does it?
Yeah, I'm saying he framed it like more like you could say like he framed it in a very discharitable way, like very like I think I watched him reacting to an AP News article where actually Tanky's in his chat was pushing him and like he was fighting against the Tanky, saying that like this is completely unacceptable and that surveillance and it's akin to things. So I'm saying that I don't see him downplaying, except that like one quote where he's probably talked about this for hours. This is a problem with Hasan. He streams like 9 hours a day. So obviously you can like when he's talking about for like several hours, you can pull up these one, 2 instances, but that does not summarize his full for
Yeah, I mean, he also did it with Hong Kong. Like his immediate thing when they brought up Hong Kong was to say, "Oh yeah, everyone said they were all going to get mass murdered and everything. That didn't happen." It's like, why are you talking about like that? That's not the point. Like, they've had their civil rights crushed in Hong Kong. Like, what the? That's
true.
So yeah, it's obvious he carries water for the CCP. Like, it's not like I don't think he loves them or anything like, but yeah, he obviously does. Yeah, and that's an issue.
He is pro-China. He has said he's pro-China.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
In my understanding, he thinks that China's a social democracy right now. That's a state capitalist that's transitioning towards socialism. I think that's what his position is. So maybe that's why he likes multipolarity. So,
yeah,
but like
do you think,
he's not
out
like
of, out
a
of
full
interest,
on
do you
like
think like liking multipolarity just like as a first principle makes sense? Like,
no. But he's not like Jackson Hinkle Russia for China. He's not that.
No.
Which is like what the video tried to frame him as, like this ridiculous claims of organ harvesting and Austria-style death camps.
He's anti-liberal. Like, he's anti a lot of the things that like hold true to liberalism. Like, I don't think he really cares
he's
all that much about.
anti-capitalist.
I don't think he cares
That's a
all
good
that
thing.
much about democracy. His disinfo on Syria was absolutely ridiculous as well. He defends like actions by some of the most like insane authoritarian states and movements in the world, like defending the Russian annexation of Crimea constantly.
I watched
like,
I watched his commentation in Russia right now, and he seems really pro-Ukraine. I watched his recent, like he's been shitting on.
He defended the annexation of Crimea. Like,
did he say he supports it, or in some ways it can?
He said it
be
was a
seen
morally
as justifiable.
morally justifiable act. He also like made fun of people over it for like Crimea River, and it's just like, can you imagine if I said that about like one settlement in the West Bank? Like, that'd be mental. I
don't know.
For all this
I don't
talk
know.
about ethnic
I don't-
cleansing of Muslims, like how many people fled Crimea during that annexation because they were in fear for their rights and for their lives? Like 200,000 or something.
Yeah,
They're
that
never
was
going
back
back.
in the 1940s.
No,
Oh,
this
wait,
was
that's-
recently.
that's
This was
current.
recently. A bunch of people, like
Wait,
since
Muslim
2014.
Tatars? Wait, who?
Since
Who fled?
2014, Ukrainians and Tatars have fled Crimea en masse, and been replaced by settlers. How many people? Let me double check the number. Fled Crimea since 2014.
I thought you were talking the one during World War II was much bigger.
No, the Tatars. Yeah, So since estimates, but it's between 50,000 and 200,000. Yeah, including tens of thousands of Tatars. Yeah, and not to mention the ones who have stayed are getting persecuted. So yeah.
My position is that like I don't support it, but in some ways it can be seen as justifiable. I don't support it, but in some ways it's not like the Golan Heights where like you first take it over and then you replace it. Because like the Golan Heights, when Israel first took it over, the population didn't want to be a part of it. But while Crimea, Russia didn't move any settlers, and the people there, majority according to most people. I'm not saying I support it. I'm saying in some ways it can be seen as justifiable, but
no, not if you think the Golan Heights is unjustifiable. Crimea is only got a large Russian population because of ethnic cleansing, because of whether it was even in the famines or before that. Like, yeah, Crimea was at one point, right, beginning of the Russian Empire taking over, was like 2% Russian. It's only a large Russian population because of imperialism.
It'd be similar to the Golan Heights if it was majority Ukrainian. Russia took it, and then drove out the Ukrainians, and then that area became pro-Russia. But that area was pro-Russia before
you just described
the modern state of Russia.
You just described what happened to Crimea, but it happened over a period of like 300 years. But yeah, that is kind of what happened. Yeah. There's also, even then, there's still actually not even that much evidence. It would be like if like 100 years from now, if 100 years from now Golan was majority Jewish, then it would be okay to annex because it's happened over a long period of time.
Yeah, but did the modern state of Russia take it over? Yeah, I see. I don't support it. I don't support the annexation of Crimea. So I should be probably defending this. I hope he's gone back on that point. I hope he's gone back. But Ethan was like claiming he's pro-Russia, which he's not. Maybe he does some propaganda, which is wrong. Obviously, when you watch somebody, they don't need to be perfect. we can have like disagreements, but he's not pro-Russia. That's which Ethan has said. And like he's last thing about the not last thing. This is the like drama. You can tell me to go any time you want. But like, do you think? I'm sorry, this is personal. Do you think Ethan has gone a little bit too far, claiming that he sends unsolicited nudes, like claiming that he's like a sex criminal now without any piece of evidence? Is I know what they were referring to because the attack was coming from DGG like 2 weeks ago. It's like talking about this one Cosmopolitan article where he was clicking on random Snapchats where he was supposed to be fans sending picture of his merch, and some of them were nudes, but they were unsolicited nudes, and he was clicking on random Snapchat. So do you think he's gone a little bit too far claiming that he's like a rapist and like a sex criminal?
Did he call him a sex
would
criminal?
you say that's Well, he said he shares solicited nudes. He says solicited.
He said that he
nudes,
solicited
which is-
nudes from fans and then showed them to people. Isn't that what he did?
Yeah,
Or that he's accused of doing.
that's what he did.
Um,
And he said, there was also another clip of him talking about Lebowski live and like how he has sex with drunk women. There's another clip of that, so that's implying that he's a rapist. That's one of them. So
Wait, so he's not
would
called.
you say
You're saying he's implying by what? By having sex with drunk women?
Yes, there's one clip of that. Yes, he said that.
And implying that he's
yes,
but saying someone has sex, saying someone's like a bit of a sleaze bag or whatever, maybe, or like Hasan definitely used to be. That Bro Tips channel.
Yeah, but like he's implied that he's doing great.
Yeah, but he's not. Wait, where's he? How's he? Can you show me the strongest implication that Ethan gave of Hasan being a rapist?
Let me show. It was actually on the. I remember it being on the rapist. So I'm gonna quote his word. It was on one of these subreddits. Sorry, this must be a little bit boring. Here. Did Ethan ever elaborate? Could I send you links?
Yeah.
So I'll make it. So this is what one thing I'll send. Sorry to here message. I'll message you it. Yeah. It's on the Snark. Oh, I need to add you as. Yeah, I sent you it. See if you got it. It's on the It's on like the H3 underscore. That's
Obviously. Yeah,
where
let's
I
see.
found it.
Bro is straight up in that like Lebowski, Big Lebowski like.
So yeah,
sex
he calls him a
predator
sex predator.
vibe.
Sex
He looks like
predator
he's
vibe.
someone at a Big Lebowski party, you know, where he.
He's talking about his clothes here, isn't he? He looks like he's
No.
talking about what he's
Wait,
wearing.
No. It's saying he has
Yeah. He looks like he's at.
he like takes advantage of drunk women, which is
Okay.
basically what he's saying here.
Bro is straight up in that like Lebowski, Big Lebowski like sex predator vibe.
This is with
He
no
looks like
evidence.
someone at a Big
This is a
Lebowski
legal
party, you know,
thing.
where he.
To my
No,
knowledge,
that
at
is not
least
illegal.
what
To
from-
say someone to make a comment about someone's like what they're wearing, that they're giving like this Big Lebowski sex predator vibe. Like that's like someone's like
And then he
seeing someone
says-
with like the mustache
he
and calling it a
takes advantage
pedo
of
stash,
drunk-
right? Like
he takes advantage of drunk women after that.
Yeah, he looks
But
like he's at a
yeah,
Jackie Treehorn
this
party.
this to my knowledge,
You know,
if
fucking,
you can't
drunk-
consent while you're drunk. So
drunk women.
at least
See,
where
hang
I
on.
live, I
Which
don't know.
surprisingly doesn't seem too far off from what he
Where-
actually does
where-
do,
he said, it doesn't seem too far off from what he actually does do,
or has done at least.
or has done.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
referring to what? I mean, if he can
I
show you
don't
the
know
evidence,
what-
then that would be
There's no
interesting.
unless he's
Isn't-
talking about
isn't
those
this, like,
satirical.
Upcoming footage? Oh, what? Because it's the bro tips being satirical. Is that what we're gonna go with?
Yeah, yes, he's saying that he does that in real life, and he's showing solicited nudes to other people without any evidence. Like that in itself is like horrible action to like of a thing like purposely showing solicited nudes. So he just
I don't know. Would you not want to see the evidence before we start with that? Because if he's saying he's got receipts for it and it's going to be an upcoming video, like we're talking about a
if
video
there
that's not
were
even
receipts,
arrived yet.
If he said he hasn't decided on writing it yet. So
The
he's
thing is,
not even in
I
the
think
position.
what's going to happen. What's going to happen is he's probably going to show evidence of Hasan in the past, in like 2016, being probably a bit sleazy by today's standards, anyway. And you guys are going to say, "Oh, but that's not rape, though, is it? You called him a rapist," even though I don't think Ethan has actually ever called him a rapist. No, compared to again, if we're okay with like calling some settlers inbred or whatever, like if we're okay with this kind of like hyperbole every now and then with people, then because Hasan has no shortage of doing this himself. Like how many people has he accused of like being Nazis and like that? Okay, like, and that's a much more literal
who was he falsely
accusation.
accused of being a Nazi?
Adam something. He said that Adam something had not left his alt-right rabbit hole and scratched a liberal and a fascist bleeds over nothing. Like it was over nothing. It was over debunking anti-Ukrainian propaganda.
Yeah. Adam something is pro-Palestine.
I think Nick DeOrio as well. Whatever the evidence there is.
Yeah, no, Nicholas DeOrio definitely has alt-right vibes. Nicholas DeOrio.
Alt-right vibes. Are you calling him a Nazi there?
His audience is full
See
of
the
it.
difference.
So,
No, wait. Are you calling Nick DeOrio a Nazi or not?
I need to. There's a. No, I don't think he's.
Okay,
he's
so
a
saying they have
Nazi.
vibes is not the same as calling them a thing. You see what I did there?
Yeah. There was a clip of him quoting Hitler, so I need to look. I need to look more into the Nicholas DeOrio stuff.
I mean, that could mean so many.
But
things,
yeah, I'm
right?
saying if there's any evidence of Hasan sharing solicit nudes, this would already be blasted. And the only thing they could come up with was a Cosmopolitan article of him clicking on messages from fans and him being the victim. Because honestly, sending unsolicited nudes should be a crime. Him being the victim, because he was a victim in that situation. And I remember Dan Saltman was deflecting when the Destiny thing came up. So that's what I think he's referring to. That's what I think because he shows a reporter of him clicking on messages and him receiving unsolicited nudes. But the way Ethan characterized that...
How are Miskiff and the other dude, what's his face? Ludwig, how are they involved in this?
Yeah, there was a clip of Hasan on his phone, like privately, and then Ludwig peeked over his shoulder and saw the thing. And they're saying and yeah, that's not purposely showing. So that's again mischaracterization. But yeah, anyways, I don't know why I'm talking about somebody else's things and
yeah, I don't know
in
either.
terms of,
I mean, if it's a false accusation, it's a false accusation, and I wouldn't defend it. That's why I haven't commented on that. I said I'd be interested in seeing what the allegation is.
Yeah. And like on the harassment thing, Hasan has promoted no harassment against Ethan. Like he's blocked, like for like there's clip compilations of him since October 7th, people coming in his chat saying he actually reposted on his TikTok of him coming in his chat and he's saying Ethan is not your enemy. Ethan cries for people coming in his chat saying he's a Zionist. Ethan cries for Palestine. Ethan is pro-Palestine. He said that all the way until October. He never pushed the theory that Ethan was a Zionist, and this is just the truth. Ethan is way more pro-Israel than it lets on. It's just something like the way he says war and like how he's pro-Joe Biden and who he's a fan of, who's subreddit, he's still. I'm sorry to bring it, but this is like if he's gonna make the Hasan bad empanada, he's still a fan of, and still to my knowledge taking stuff from that subreddit from like a week ago. Who he's a fan of. He's much pro-Israel than he lets on.
Well, if that's too, listen, I'm just saying though, like for most, and I know it's difficult to accept this because the online world's a very difficult place right now. But I think for most normal people or people who actually understand any of this conflict, I think being that level of pro-Israel is still more acceptable than being pro-Houthi, Hezbollah, Hamas. So I just don't.
Are you sure? Because Hasan is the biggest political streamer by a mile. So I don't know.
He supports some of the most insane actions and some of the most insane organizations in the world. Yeah, it's a big problem. Yeah, I think that's not nearly as bad as what Ethan says about Israel. Like for political advocacy, no way. Also, Asmongold's bigger streamer now. Sorry.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Thanks, partly thanks due to Destiny and sorry to bring up, but that's a lot and due to the smear campaign, which there was like people saying like he was using anti-Semitic slurs like it's such as pig dog, which is not.
Is that is that what people are saying now, that Hasan got hamstrung because of people defaming him?
Yeah, he was literally blacklisted during the election. Like, yes, if you went on to Incognito and there was like 10 people, 10 drama slot videos that all got like 500,000 views of him making things. Yes, obviously, if somebody gets attacked this much, it makes to an impressionable audience to see if somebody's like gets attacked and there's false like things such as that he calls random Jews inbred, which is was implied.
When has Asmongold ever not been bigger than Hasan?
Oh, he's just grown a lot since the election. They're like he's like at 57. He was like 57 average views. He's at like 40K. During the election, Hasan was bigger, but now when they were traveling, Hasan had 312K. But now during like the inauguration, during State of Union, during political events, Asmongold gets more. Because during the election, this is not just me. He was actively blacklisted. Like this is not thing. Twitch confirmed that he was actively like thing. So like the person at the top of the thing and like thing that was getting served to every single new Twitch reel was Asmongold. Yes, and attacking his direct enemy thing. Who Asmongold, who's actually like anti-Semitic and is, I'd say, a Nazi, like, because he said like he's watched Hitler videos and like fully agreed with them and saying like this culture is not compatible with ours. Obviously, he's inferior culture and like the Holocaust probably happened, and I'm the opposite of Jewish as Mongol. So I'm saying if you actually care about anti-Semitism, this goes to my first point. If Ethan was not a narcissist and he actually cared about somebody that's promoting anti-Semitism and has a community that says based AFD, and like his community also thinks Jews control the media. If you care, you wouldn't be attacking Hasan. You would be attacking Asmongold, who's by far bigger on YouTube and bigger on Twitch. This is just a fact. And the ringleader of the campaign is retweeting Elon Musk, a guy who's promoted the fact that Jews are bringing minorities into America to replace white people. So I think everybody knows this, but this smear campaign is due to personal vendetta plus Hasan being pro-Palestine. It's not due to.
It is not because of him being pro-Palestine. Shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. Like, okay, I agreed with maybe like 20% of what you just said there. This is not because of Hasan being pro-Palestine. It is not. It is not. It is not. Like, Ethan started this whole thing by he called the war a genocide along with Hasan. He spoke about how settlers were military targets, which overlaps with the position of Marwan Barghouti, the most popular Palestinian leader, holds that position that Ethan does. But condemning October 7th, that was the genocide. Okay, the break was over. The break was over. What, like support for October 7th? People like Second Thought, who Hasan just refused to have any bad words for, when he was literally saying that no Israeli is a civilian. You can keep calling it a smear campaign all you want, okay, but out there in the real world, okay, most people are not going to take kindly to that kind of rhetoric. No one forced Hasan to celebrate the Houthis. No one forced him to support the annexation of Crimea. No one forces him to defend China. No one forces him to defend people like Second Thought or Bana Panada, who think there's no such thing as an Israeli civilian, who literally think 6-7 million Jews in the world, like almost half of them, are fair game to get murdered. No one told Hasan to defend people who say that, but he does, and he promotes people who say that. He promotes them. He promotes the people who say it. What the are you talking about? Would you ever do this for anyone else? If I started, I don't support what Asmongold says. I don't support what Asmongold says. It's not guilt by association. It's not association. It is promotion. If I start promoting Asmongold's content and saying W Asmongold, great creator, really well sourced, really academic, but also I don't really agree with his positions in the Holocaust. Off! You would never hold this down for anyone else, ever.
Who did Ethan try to watch on the stream before his own chat? Who's Ethan? Where is Ethan getting all his points from? It's literally. I'm sorry to bring it up, but you're doing guilt by association. And he tried to watch. The only reason he doesn't watch it is because his audience hates the person guts. It's Destiny, a guy who's openly pro-genocide. So if we're doing guilt by
wait. First of all, okay. You for making me defend Destiny. Destiny is not openly pro-genocide, okay? That is not a thing. Well, you can talk about that. You can talk about that clip all you want, okay? I don't know if you've seen my discussion with him over that clip. I think like after that clip, he was supporting a two-state solution, which is the complete opposite of the quote pro-genocide thing that he was talking about before that. So, but in any case, when has Ethan shouted out and supported Destiny's content? Are you saying he got something? Are you saying he got? Are you saying a Jubilee video, which Hasan also watched, and said that Destiny's going to tear these conservatives a new butthole?
He was watching the specifically the Destiny one, and his crew shot him down. But like he's a Destiny fan, and no matter how much, I'm sorry to bring this up, this is a thing.
No, but again, when is Ethan? Okay, even if you believe that, even if you believe everything you believe about Destiny, and think it's comparable to saying 7 million people in a country are valid military targets. Which it's not. I don't suppose you can find me, Stephen, saying that every Palestinian's a military target. You can find me that if you want. You won't. because that
There's
is a
clips of
step
him
above.
laughing after.
That is,
There's clips of
it's
him laughing
advocating.
after.
Advocating, saying point blank, these people are military targets, all of them, this entire country. That you have no comparison. Him laughing at something.
He has said that he advocates for the whole.
Ethan does not support. Like, if you brought that up to Ethan, what would he say? Would he say, "Yeah, there are multiple schools of thought in the pro save the Jews move"? No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't mince around it like a miserable little worm. Like, he would condemn it openly.
I'm just Hasan has pushed back against bad empathy, saying that he's unhinged and stuff like that.
Yeah, he says he's unhinged because of how he behaves on Twitter and his bad optics. It's like do you want to watch? Can we just like sit here and watch together like how he reacted to that second thought take about there being no civilians and how Hasan just minces around it?
But he did go. He did go on when he was reacting to your video, which mentioned the second thought video. He did go on to say, I completely disagree with it. So he did later.
While still promoting the creators and saying they make really good content. And it's like, you can't do that for anyone. You can't get away with doing that for anyone else. You can't promote. Imagine if I promoted Asmongold and I was like saying, yeah, this guy, really well researched. He has really solid opinions on these issues. But also.
At least some of second thoughts. Like Asmongold and second thought, like. Asmongold is way worse. Asmongold is like a Nazi. A second thought, JT or what thing is not a Nazi.
No,
Asmongold is like,
he's not a Nazi who just thinks like almost half of the world's Jews are military targets.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope he doesn't think that like killing 6 million Israeli Jews are fine. I hope he like just thinks like.
I mean, it's literally the only logical conclusion of what he says. They are no civilians. There are no civilians. He said it multiple times. He was so unequivocal and like much more unequivocal than anything that I've ever been accused of or anyone else.
Yeah.
And obviously we know that Bad Empanada feels that way as well, but he gets a pass now as well. What? Because he defends Hasan. Like, come on.
Yes, that's because Hasan can't be bothered to do the defending, which honestly I think he should, because the video on Asmon, he's been saying that he's planning to. I hope he does make like a full edited video of like of the stuff, like of Hasan never hiding like his socialist views and like stuff like that. Him just saying we should move to social democracy in short term, which is what every socialist aims for. I think every single socialist aims for in the short term to go to social democracy, and then transition towards socialism. And also the thing about saying you're a communist, nobody identifies as a communist. I've never heard somebody say I'm a communist. Everybody just says a leftist or socialist. Communist is like we and like when like that's not hiding your view saying that you're not a communist but you are a socialist.
Why was he sneering? Why? I don't know if I want to go down this rabbit hole or not. Why was he sneering at people, at Ethan for not knowing then? And then appeal to having Lenin in the background. Was Lenin not a communist? Or like...
No, he says he's a socialist, but he doesn't know where the society can progress in a way where we can live in a stateless, moneyless society. We can't even imagine a world like that, but we can imagine a world where workers own the means of production. Which I need to read more on this. I'm just a 19-year-old kid. I need to read more on this. So, but yeah, you can advocate for socialism by not advocating for a stateless society. Well, not knowing where society can progress in that way, where we can have a say. Yeah.
But also not being against it, and also like not being against the means to get there, which
not being against it because we don't know whether society can.
Yeah, but this is what like So obviously, think about. Okay, do you know how there's like the literal meaning of a word versus the way a word is used and is practiced, and the latter is generally more important. All these people who called themselves communists throughout the 20th century and even today, none of them have actually enacted a classless, moneyless, stateless society. They've all done state-controlled, like Soviets or central planning and all that. The stuff they advocate for, but they all do it in the name of communism, right? Like, so when you are
of achieving communism at the end.
Yes. So when someone, as far as I know, and maybe this surprises people, but I actually have read quite a bit of Marx, okay? And I understand like the...
Yeah, I know you have.
I'm pretty sure if you're a communist or a socialist, like these two words are generally quite interchangeable. People don't use the word like by their terms. In Marx's terms, if you're a socialist, you're probably also a communist because like why would you...
Yeah,
the whole
probably.
point of socialism is that socialism is supposed to set you up for abundancy so that class and money and the state become less and less necessary, right? Like, and that's like, yeah. So it would be very strange that you would be like, no, let's just keep all these things that are like oppressive. Like, let's just keep class, even though we don't need it anymore. Like, you would never, that wouldn't exist.
Yeah, from Marx's perspective, then why would they? Yeah, but like I've just never seen really. I've never seen from Hassan's perspective, I'm trying to defend him. I need to read more Marx. I don't know where to start, but I need to read more of his works. I planning on ordering it, but he just doesn't know because it's hard to imagine, and it definitely will never be achieved in our lifetime or his lifetime. So that's why he's saying that he won't necessarily oppose to it. But that's not like what Ethan was claiming. He's saying he hides as a SOCDEM. He has never hid as a SOCDEM. He has openly he's never said he's like pro-capitalist. He's always said he's a leftist, which means anti-capitalist, and he's a socialist. That's what he's.
That's not the point though. Is like it's that he softens his because socialists can mean anything from Bernie Sanders to the CCP, right? These people are all socialists. Okay, you know what? I'm kind of a socialist, okay? Like I support workplace democracy and I'd like there to be more of that in the world than there are private enterprises, okay? So I'm in that camp as well, all right? So it's a pretty, the problem is with socialists is that it's a very broad church. And usually when someone says I'm a socialist, but then all they talk about is social democracy and like that, which has nothing to do with socialism really. When they talk about all those things and then when they advocate for all that, then it's like, then some people are going to be surprised when you start supporting the CCP and even saying things like what Hasan does in the past, because Hasan what Hasan really believes about social democracy and social democrats is that the same way, that's what they mean when they say liberals, right? Like the people who will always choose fascism over socialism, the people who are like the real thorn in the side. These societies that seem really welfare and social programs and all that, but actually they only can exist by plundering the out of the third world. Like that's what they think about social democracy, right? And that it's all obviously like they believe that it can never be sustained. It's always going to go back to.
We're seeing
neoliberal. Yeah,
we're seeing it can't be sustained. Germany, we're seeing all these social democracies like plunge into and vote increasingly for fascist parties. For France, I think you would classify as a social democracy. The UK, we've seen the welfare. Like I'm sure you've experienced this. Like I've heard this as well. Like NHS getting worse year by year. Like longer waiting times are getting more. I think even Keir Starmer said he wanted to do privatization of like a sort of it. So we're seeing that social democracy does not work, and we're seeing that in Europe.
Yeah, and people have been saying this about liberal democracy or social democracy or anything like that since like the 1920s and 30s, right? Like people thought that it was going to be socialism or barbarism, and I guess and liberal democracy won overall both of them. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, China's coming up.
So China has been and will be, quote, coming up for a very long time, okay? They still have to deal with challenges that have been handled by liberal democracies long ago. They don't know what it's like to deal with a restive middle-class population that's getting really fussy about the situation and all that. Like, yeah, not to mention what the fuck, like the military escalation and what might happen with the 9-dash line in Taiwan and shit. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's why a lot of socialists like it, because they view China as the only counterbalance. That's like why, that's they view as the only hegemonic power, which is not like a capitalist regime. Yeah, so that's probably why a lot of it make it. And you would agree that China's advancing towards has an intention, like the leaders have an intention of it's state capitalist now, but like the leaders have an intention of advancing it towards socialism, right?
I think they have a stated intention, but I don't know. It's I feel like these regimes, and maybe I should read more on them, but I feel like these regimes tend to just get kind of stuck in the
okay, man. They've been making big advancements in AI and like fusion and everything like that. So hopefully, I'm hoping for China's uprising, because I do think ultimately that they probably are better than the especially in the last 16 months, I think maybe a lot of young people are seeing this, that they probably will, with the US policy towards Israel, they will probably be better. But yeah, that could be a disagreement.
With the US
we
policy
have.
towards Israel?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Because China's very
With
like
how?
pro-Palestine.
Well, at least they're not funding Israel like actively, and they're not like they're voting actually, yes on UN like pro-Palestine UN resolutions. They're neutral. That's one criticism I have of them. That, and I think even Hasan have of them, that they do not help. Like they're very self-interested. So that is one thing, but they're not pro-Israel like the US, and they are somewhat pro.
But they also are quite cynical in the sense that they deal in defense and military with Israel, right? Like,
but they do vote yes on every UN resolution.
Yeah, they vote yes on the, UN resolutions that don't result in anything, right?
Yeah, true.
Just they're having their cake and they're eating it. Also, there's something that oh god, I hate second thought. My god, this whole thing about social democracy inevitably failing, even though it's been inevitably failing for like 100 years now. What is it? We've been in late stage capitalism since 1919. Like, if you look at where am I going to find this? It's Our World in Data, isn't it? Social democracy and welfare getting more basically is not just because of privatization and capital. That has happened in part, especially in places like the UK and Ireland and the United States mainly.
Margaret Thatcher.
But do you know, have you ever seen like a graph of like public social spending as a share of GDP from all these countries?
Yeah, I've seen it shown by you. Yeah, it's gone up since like even the neoliberal era, since the 1970s.
Yeah, even in countries that have supposedly like rolled back on their social democracies, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't. I need to study more economics, but it doesn't feel like it does. Like it feels like from the citizens living there, they've all said like the welfare has gone gone to. But I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, there's been a few reasons for that though. Like one of the reasons, like so the NHS is struggling because of underfunding, and governments are not putting enough in the budget for the goals. It also struggles because we're an aging population. Like it's that part is not going. Yeah, so it's
true.
Like there's like varying factors here. But yeah, this idea that like there are some countries,
Germany
obviously
well,
Sweden took a big backdrop in the 90s, like a backslide. But yeah, the general trend since the 80s has still been upward.
Okay, well that's good. I've just hoped like that. What I mean by maybe end of like a social democracy is like if a party like the AfD wins, because they've had like neo-Nazi leaders with like who actually collaborate with the actual Nazi party that's banned. So that's what I'm saying about like we kind of I'm naive, but that does kind of seem like the end to like and then they fuck the country up even more. So that's what I'm saying, that might be then. But
I 100% agree with that. I just don't see the evidence that socialism is the answer to it.
Okay. Yeah. Because even Eastern Europe is I guess that's understandable. And last point, before I've kept you long. Last point, I just want to really nail in the point. So I'm sorry talking about like your former thing. So for the Dan Solomon campaign, do you think the campaign that he is primarily leading, do you think it's because of anti-Semitism, or do you think when he like retweets Elon Musk, like that's a spearhead of the campaign? Do you think that's because of anti-Semitism, or is that because of what's his name? Because of vendetta, because of personal vendetta his friend has towards and his community has? Because to me, when you retweet Elon Musk and when you use accounts like Stop Anti-Semitism, which think that wearing a keffiyeh is like a crime and dox you for it, wearing a Free Palestine, when you use those things, that just shows that all of this about anti-Semitism is gone out of the thing. So that's the only thing I really wanted to last thing I wanted to ask.
I have no idea what Dan is smoking with that campaign, so can't really comment. I tuned out of that one a long time ago because it seems mental. I think I told him that at the time.
Okay.
He's literally like on my stream one time, and I was asking him, like, you realize that the only way you're going to get this done is by siding with nutter right wingers who he doesn't like.
Yeah, making Asmongold like the only like political voice, like big political voice on
Well,
Twitch.
I
would
think
be
Hasan
quite
did that to
scary.
himself. I think he could have been slightly less unhinged, but you know.
Yeah.
Okay. You said
Well,
you said
thanks.
earlier you were complaining earlier about like how the social democracies in Europe are like plunging into fascism or something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you say like, for example, oh, I hope that China succeeds in whatever, right?
Success for all countries and people. Yeah.
Guess which party is being supported by China in Germany?
I have a feeling. I don't know. I have a feeling you'll say the AfD.
Yeah, it's the AfD. They're literally in contact with the CCP. Alice Weidel literally was working in China for like years. She has a lot of contacts with the Chinese. She has a lot of contacts with the Russians. Like you all you think about is just optics or whatever you think are optics, even though you don't actually know anything deeper than the scratch of a surface. Like you have no clue about anything that has to do with geopolitics. You just like tout that you hear on stream and don't actually do any research yourself.
Sorry, I was joking.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Right?
I've heard from other people that
you would think, right? China, socialism, blah blah blah, right? You would think they care about people. They care about like
I tend to
all
match people where they
thrive, the Workers' Party. You know,
they're
they
being
want
nice, you be nice.
the baseline to
Power
thrive,
persuasion.
right?
I think they want their own people. Yeah, they're self-interested. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Why don't they support, for example, I don't know, the leftists party that are also isolationist and would also kind of like destabilize the countries? No, they don't actually support the leftist party that would actually destabilize the countries. They support the fascists, the Nazis.
Yeah. I'd have to look more into that, but like the reason why I have admiration for China is because like I've heard that like the average citizen in China really likes Xi Jinping. Like
where did you hear that?
A American university poll that said like 95% of like basically all Han Chinese people support the CCP communist
so you
Chinese
go a poll of like who the people in China support rather than actually looking like what is happening on the ground in China.
Well, they've been brought out of poverty. They're building mega cities and then they haven't even been filled with people yet, and they're moving.
Do you know what's happening in rural China? They're literally they're literally forcing people from rural China into forced labor because they need people to work elsewhere. They're taking people from what they've been doing before and putting them somewhere else to work, even if they don't want to. They're literally like forcing people to work jobs that they don't want to work in.
That sounds really bad, if true.
Yeah. So you don't know anything. You don't know anything. You just see slogans and then you think it's actually like the truth. Oh, China is so based.
I like red sun in the sky.
You have no idea. You have no clue, man.
I've seen an Alex Jones and like Mao Zedong edit, and that's pretty. I don't know. I just like, but like,
you
there's
just
this
like
one really
slogans.
funny.
You just like slogans. You don't like anything. You don't know anything. You just look at something.
What about all the advancements
packaging?
making in
You look
AI?
at the packaging and you don't actually know the contents.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, man! Good cop, bad cop.
I gotta look more. I gotta look more into China. I just see on my Twitter a lot of like good advancements that China are doing in terms of fusion. Yeah, X.
Anyways,
yeah,
I gotta go. Bye.
Okay. Well, sorry for keeping you this long, Lonerbox. Yeah, thanks for the chat. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having more of a spine than Hasan. Well done. Hasan is not half the man that little zoomer is, okay? I'm just saying. Guy just kept chugging. BLA hijacked a train. Wow, that's not good. Separatists hijack train carrying over 400 passengers in Pakistan. The authorities were struggling to reach the remote site of the ambush in the country's southwest, and the passenger's fate was not immediately known. 450 hostages. Next story. Next story. Next story.